Welcome to episode 46 of the Lightning Round. I'm your host, Lightning, and with me today is the ever-reliable Duhad.
Nice to be on the show again.
He's filling in again for AR, who is, as I've said before, working for pretty much the entire month of May. It is drawing to a close, though. We talked to him. He said that he is, the next week is his last week. So we will probably have one more episode without him, and then he will be joining me for the remainder of the podcast. Because as I mentioned last week, and I will keep on saying this for the next few weeks, the Lightning Round is going to come to an end after Fiesta Equestria. I will be moving on to End to End, which is
my podcast
right.
with Cabral and AR, as you show. And Lightning Rabbit.
Right. And I will it's on AR's
Muffin Lovin'
channel,
Productions.
Muffin Lovin' Productions. So I'll link Muffin Lovin' Productions in the description. So you guys can start migrating over there if that's something that you want to see. Go ahead and check out some of the other episodes of End to End. They're pretty entertaining, and they have interviewed some pretty cool people, so
including Lightning. So if you like the Lightning Round because of Lightning, he is already at least in one episode of End to End.
Right. And so I will be joining them in June, and that'll be coming up in the next couple weeks. Other announcements. Let's see here. Recently, my channel has just reached the 300 subscriber mark, so I just have to say that I'm very thankful to each and every one of you that have liked my content enough to subscribe to me. There will be a special coming out this weekend for that. It's not quite done yet, but I do plan a 300 subscriber special coming out this weekend, so keep an eye out for that. Yeah, this podcast will probably come out before it airs. So, but if you're listening to this weekend, expect the special to come out pretty quickly after the sale. So.
Yes, and if you happen to be listening to this several days after it was originally aired, that video that's right after this one, yeah, that's the 300 special. Go check it out.
And it's labeled as 300 subscriber special. So.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. So, let's see here. If I'm also gonna start mentioning my fanfic readings, because that is what I'm gonna be working more on after the podcast ends. So, if you want an update on that, On Across Narrow is coming to an end. The Chapter 10 was just released a couple days ago, and Chapter 11 is, at the time this is being recorded, currently being edited. And so it should be out within the next week or so. We're going to see how that works out, see what kind of time I have. And so hopefully that'll come out pretty soon. The 300 subscriber special is actually another reading. I'm not going to be a surprise, but yes, the 300 subscriber special is also another fanfic reading that'll be coming out pretty shortly. And after that, yours truly is going to do the fanfic that we're going to be working on. If you're familiar with yours truly, it is a very long fanfic, about 18,000 words.
Very bomb.
Huh?
Very bomb?
Long for a one-shot.
Ah.
It's a one-shot. So there's not going to be multiple chapters or anything, but for a one-shot, 18,000 words is long. And so it's all going to be one recording, but it's going to be like 2 to 2.5 hours long. And I have to edit that. So yours truly is going to take a couple of weeks for me to get it out, because it's going to take a lot of editing to do that.
But hey, all you people have plenty of things to watch in the meantime, so just be patient, because it'll be worth it. Trust me.
It should be out before the end of June. I really want to get it out before the end of June. So, and then if you guys are not aware yet, Allegreza will be following that. That'll be a longer fanfic because it is like 17 chapters or something like that. They're really short chapters, but still, if I only do one a week, it's going to take a couple months to get through. So that'll probably take me throughout the entire summer to get that done.
All right.
So
Almost funny the amount of work that goes into those type of readings that you do, but it is the price you pay for a high quality product. I personally prefer to half-ass it and get something out faster, but I have 25 subscribers and you have 300, so probably you're doing something right.
Well, and the funny thing is, when you see people like, I told you I'm involved with the Reharmonized Ponies team, and they get out like an episode every few months. Granted, they have artwork and music and stuff like that I don't have, but I feel like even though I only get out about one a week, well, it's like one every 3 weeks for On Across the Narrow, just because of all the extra work that goes into that. When Allegreza comes out, because the chapters are only like 15 to 20 minutes long, I'll get those out pretty quickly. And there's only like, some chapters will only have Vinyl Octavia and the narrator, so there'll be like 3 parts that I need to edit together. It's pretty easy, and I expect Allegreza to go a lot faster than On Across the Narrow did, because there's so few parts and because they're so short.
Well, at any rate, you guys didn't come here to listen to us talk on and on about all the wonderful things that will be coming out.
Right.
You came here to talk about for us to talk about all the things that have already come out.
That's right. This week, we do have a discussion. We're going over Equestria Girls and the just random stuff surrounding that. So we're going to play that for you in just a second, and then we'll get on to the rest of the podcast. So let's get into that.
All right. So why don't you roll them clips?
First thing on the agenda this time around, we went into this about 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to actually have a good in-depth discussion to talk about it. We're going to go into a discussion about Equestria Girls today. With me, I've got a plethora of special guests with me. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Because you said you'd introduce us for us.
Yep, exactly.
Yay.
So are you?
I'm not going first.
This way.
I'm Mytho.
I vote Mytho as tribute.
I already said it. I
He
said
makes
it.
a good point.
Speed, are you there?
My argument is infallible.
I'm here. I think
All right,
I think I know.
Soundspeed is here. All right. Duhat's
Peasants.
also here to join us.
Hi, I'm Duhad.
And
I can
he might
speak.
be right now.
Hi, I'm also
You guys
Duhad.
are freaking lations.
We're all Duhad. But no,
No, we aren't.
Welcome to Duhad's Corner. We're all Duhad.
E-Dragon.
Oh.
No.
That was the soul of Duhad escaping.
this intro is not working out.
Not very much. We're going to try to use it. E-Dragon, are you here?
I'm here.
All right. Surefire is also here to join us.
And Girl Surefire too.
Oh, goody.
Oh, wow.
I know, isn't it fantastic? I love having her here.
And last but not least, we have Mytho as well.
Hello again.
Despite him being the first one to introduce himself.
Took a bullet.
Right.
That's terrible.
So we got a bunch of people here with us to talk about Equestria Girls tonight.
Some of us.
So I'm sure we're going to have lots of different viewpoints as well. But before we get started talking about it, we showed the trailer during the podcast about 2 weeks ago. I want to refresh everyone's memory, so let's go ahead and play the trailer again, and then we'll get into more of the conversation after we check it out again.
I am excited, but I'm a little nervous too. Twilight!
You'll soon know more about this place than even I do.
You okay?
You must be new here.
My magic isn't working. My name's Twilight Sparkle and Pinkie Pie? You're officially up for the coveted Princess of the Fall Formal Crown.
Where is this Twilight Sparkle?
I'm so nervous I know.
You do realize that's not a real word, right?
So now that we've seen the trailer, I want don't go too into depth, but right now I want you guys to go ahead and have initial thoughts. Just when you first saw the trailer, what did you think?
I'm bored.
All right, let's see how much spaghetti this can generate in this amount of time.
Anyone else?
It has. I'm lacking the word right now, so somebody go first so I can remember this word.
The animation was significantly the character models were better animated than I thought they would be. Positive.
Potential. The word was potential. It has a lot of potential just because the show writers are really good. But it, at first glance, it just doesn't seem like a good idea. But, you know, things have worked out before. Crazier things have happened. It's not the end of the world.
You kind of gotta put it in perspective, though, because, I mean, people are mixed on it right now because it's MLP, but, like, if you took a step back and you're like, oh, what if Lion King? What if they took the Lion King, then turned all of the lions into people, and then made them have menial high school drama? Like, no one would say that was a good idea.
That would be pretty fucking awful, yeah.
Yeah, it's like nobody, but everybody's all up in arms about this one.
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
And yet people would still go watch it anyway.
Have you ever seen the movie, the series Tailspin?
Nope.
That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that was less crap than it could have been.
That was good. I like that as a kid, at least.
It was fun as a kid. It doesn't really hold up very well, but it was a cool idea. It was a cool concept that actually worked relatively well.
So if this movie turns out to be good for kids, that will at least be one victory, and we can respect it for that. If it turns out to be good for everyone, that's impressive.
Yeah.
You know what this kind of makes me think about?
What?
Huh? No, I don't.
Sorry, I thought someone was interrupting me.
Here's the thing I want to go into.
He was.
What?
He was waiting for you to acknowledge the interruption before he continued the interruption.
Duha was saying something.
Did you have what were you saying?
I was actually just going to say, what this sort of reminds me of in a lot of ways is actually the first part of Royal Canterlot Wedding.
Oh boy.
In terms of, it looks pretty lame, honestly, but in a way where it could totally have a giant twist that makes it actually kind of awesome.
Well,
I mean,
I'm not expecting a Changeling Armada invasion, though, in this. It is high
True.
school, after all.
You don't know that.
Did
You don't know
expect
that.
a changeling invasion in Royal Canterlot Wedding?
Hey.
Actually, I could see it happening.
Let's
I've
think
seen a
about
lot
it
of weddings
this
go
way,
south
guys.
because of alien bug invasions.
Ninjas!
Here,
There will be ninjas!
Wait, what can we infer from the trailer that's going to happen? Pretty much, the
There's
basic
going to be a
synopsis
dance.
is going to be that Twilight goes from the Equestria. I'm not sure exactly how Celestia reveals this to her or not, but apparently what she's doing is she has this mirror that is a portal to this other dimension, the human world that we live in. And
I don't think this is the one that we live in, though.
What if it was that
We're not multicolored?
And that, I guess that's up to debate. I mean, maybe it's
That's
just
racist.
a human Equestria, but it could be the world as we know it. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm really
Like,
doubtful of that,
Sure,
mostly because
like
there seems
Alabama,
to be
something like that. I don't know.
there seems to be humanized pony people already there, like the Rainbow Dash and the Pinkie Pie. They all seem to be already there, so it seems like it's a.
If they're human, it doesn't mean that they live in Equestria. If they're human, they could live in this world. I mean, we have people that are very close to those personalities here.
Actually, hold on. I think I actually do have a canonical answer to that one. From what I read from the pre-release, the characters, with the exception of Twilight, are not the characters from Equestria. They are new characters who just happen to basically be the alternate universe versions of them.
I wouldn't expect for a human to be named Rainbow Dash or Pinkie Pie. But
they're not going to be.
Well, you wouldn't expect them to be
Faith.
walking around with colored skin, but
No,
I mean,
yeah,
that
Flooded
sounded
Sky's
awful.
name's,
Hold on.
Faith.
Well, and here's the thing: is I was kind of disappointed with the fact that like Rainbow Dash is slightly blue colored and Twilight Sparkle's slightly purple colored. I was kind of disappointed with that. I figured that they'd be, actually human colored.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. That brings up a good point, because maybe they're like all technicolored, random, weird, not believable skin colors to kind of avoid any racial conflict. Because, I mean, what if they cast, like, a pony as black, and then everybody's like, what is this? And then everybody else gets upset, and then there's the...
black ponies.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just putting it out there, like, that's a possibility.
Based on that, I consider this to be a really good move now.
One thing that they did that I'm really pleased about is that the original character models for the movie showed them with wings and horns still, even though they were still humanized.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't have the wings and horns if you're going to do a human video. It's just not going to work. So they did take those out for the official release.
Thank goodness.
I'm just like, yes.
They also took out the tattoo style, like the gang tattoo style cutie marks.
Right, they were on their cheek, right, or something like that.
Yeah, they were like they were gang signs. They were on the cheeks, right underneath the right underneath the eye. I think the right eye.
I'm not 100% sure if they've got tattoos at all in this new version. I mean, we just have to.
They have shirts.
I think, on their clothes.
Is it on the clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Makes more sense.
If I could interject.
And so because of that, watching the trailer turns into a game of name that background pony.
Well, yeah, now it's like, okay, now we're just watching the video with a whole bunch of cosplayers, because this is what they would look like if they were cosplaying as that character.
Lyra's gonna have hands.
Oh my gosh!
She'll be so happy.
She'll just be in the background, like, freaking out. Her eyes will be really huge. She'll just be staring at her hands.
Well, see, here's the thing, and I know that the writers and the staff of MLP know about that and that whole joke. I'm wondering, it's not going to be a huge part or anything, but I wonder if they're going to have something in the movie that refers to that joke.
I would highly doubt it, but I would be pleasantly surprised if they did.
I would be surprised if they don't have some kind of in-jokes in the movie in reference
Oh, of
to
course
us.
they will. They will have some in-jokes. I don't know if they'll do that one specifically, though.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It would.
The writers are good about this. They know what we like and they know what we don't like. If they're forced to do this movie, because I'm pretty sure it was Hasbro's idea to do this movie, and not the writers, but if they're forced to do this movie, they're going to have to add some things that they know we like.
They're going to try. They're definitely going to try to make us like it.
Now, so there, going along with the synopsis, now we have this Sunset Shimmer character. Now, we're fairly certain this is Sunset Shimmer. I mean, there's pretty much no doubt that the antagonist of this movie is Sunset Shimmer.
No.
It's like a character from Mean Girls.
I mean, is everyone on board with that idea?
Sure, I'm on board with that.
Honestly, I think I'm one
you
of the
mean that evil glare she had wasn't supposed to be evil?
No,
she's got red hair too.
Right.
Did anyone notice that how, like, all of the people that had already been established in, like, the main show in some way had, like, different colors of their skin, but everybody else was white?
What?
I think that that guy that Twilight bumped into, who looks a little bit like Soren, might be Shining Armor.
Well, yeah,
no, it's not. They gave him a name, didn't they?
Did they?
They gave him a name, and
they gave him a name. Here, I'll bring it up.
Wait, when did they give him a name?
On that, if we're on that topic right now, anyway, we might as well talk about that. The fact of the matter is that at one point in time, she bumps into this guy, who has this blue hair. The first thing I said was that, wow, that looks like Soren, but over the course of time, people are saying Andrew Francis is the voice.
Your mic is really messing up.
You're in like a snowstorm of gravel.
We're gonna hope that it works itself out because I don't have a choice.
It's fixed now.
However,
But anyway, we're gonna over the course of time, I figured out Andrew Francis was the voice of this new character.
Yes.
And so very
that's right.
This could be Shining Armor. The other part of this argument is that people are saying this is a love interest for Twilight. I find that hard to believe. Or at least they won't go that far. They won't go that far with the movie. The way I see it is as this is like maybe a best friend. I mean, obviously, Shining Armor, BBBFF. This could be like her BFF.
Actually, apparently they have said that the character is actually one of the background ponies from the season 3 finale.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a character who showed up in the background. Essentially, it's the replacement for Shining Armor as the new head of the Royal Guard.
Oh.
So it's not necessarily. So it's an OC, is what you're saying?
Essentially, like it's a new character basically.
But Andrew Francis does do the voice.
Yeah.
Because all Captain of the Guard have to sound like Andrew Francis.
Well, here's what I'm thinking is that the way that they're doing this is that if it'd be really hard for Twilight to have a fascination with having him as a friend if it was her brother. So it's a different pony. It's not her brother, so she can have this friendship with him.
And no love interest.
Well, I mean, I don't think we need to completely rule out that whole love interest subplot, as awful as that would be. I mean, that's still like a very valid point, because you can't just kind of say, oh, they wouldn't do that, because I mean, 2 months ago you'd say they wouldn't put them in this scenario at all.
They wouldn't give Twilight wings.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man! You can't say that. You never know.
Let's be fair here, okay? They made. I'm not going to say this in a let's start this big freaking fight again, but they made Twilight a princess. Of the the two biggest things that are the quote unquote, big fantasies for little girls. What are the two big things? You become a princess.
World domination.
The three things. Like, you become a princess, you become a fashion model, or you get a boyfriend.
That's terrible.
Well,
let's face it.
The only thing that I have a problem with, and this might be answered during the movie, I'm not sure how long she's there for, but when she gets there, the fact of being a human freaks her out. So I would think that even being friends with another human would also freak her out.
I just hope it's not a love interest because of the same voice as Shining Armor. That would be really weird, I thought.
I saw a webcomic, actually. That was kind of...
The brother's voice is also the love interest, and that would be
My fear
really
is less that she finds this guy as a love interest in the human world, and more that they kind of establish him as them having a close personal connection and whatnot, and then she goes back and the movie ends with kind of a tease of him being, the new love interest in the pony world. And setting up for season 4.
I mean, because the fact is that we don't know if this pony even exists.
Yeah, we do. Remember, they said that it's the new guard captain guy.
A background pony. And
who is they?
Well, background ponies exist.
One of the writers on Twitter.
Okay.
Like who? Who was it?
I think it was Megan McCarthy, but I don't remember exactly.
See, Megan McCarthy, I would believe more than anyone else because she's supposed to be the head writer.
Again, they didn't say anything about him actually being in the show or him doing anything else, because Megan McCarthy also said that they aren't connecting the movie to season 4.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be completely separate from season 4, which, I mean, I'm like, if you're going to make a movie, make it canon, which apparently this is supposed to be completely separate.
Yeah. But
not all surprised, the show itself has an incredibly loose canon anyway.
Well, and that's unfortunate, but, I mean, the fans are able to do a lot with that.
Theory Brony, Digi Brony actually did a really good video on thoughts on Equestria Girls, or theories of what could happen and why.
Yeah, I saw that
too. I thought theirs was really
Well,
interesting.
and, you know, that's
Theirs is better
Theory
than ours.
Digibrony.
No, ours is different. It's a
I would go
discussion.
as far to say that Digibrony and Theory Brony are the top Brony analysts of the community right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like,
So I mean,
they have a
the-
lot of really good explanations for why certain things would or wouldn't happen.
But yes, and I think I got one of my points from them is just that it's really hard to believe that Twilight would have a love interest in this world that she finds strange and weird to her own.
I think from a logical character perspective, it would not make a lot of sense. But depending on how much creative control Hasbro has on this, project, like how much they're exerting, I mean, obviously they have full creative control, but how much they're exerting, it wouldn't necessarily make a lot of character sense. But from a marketing standpoint, selling the Twilight boyfriend, Prince doll isn't exactly, something they'd be horribly opposed to.
Yeah, I guess now if she got a brony, if she got a boyfriend, it would be a prince, wouldn't it?
The next royal wedding will be with Twilight.
And those siblings.
I think the problem that everybody is having, like analysis-wise with this, is that they keep complaining that things would be like out of character or wouldn't make sense in canon. But like you're already taking something extremely foregone out of canon that is not hinted to or spoken about or referred to at all, which is just like completely out of nowhere, makes no sense, and people are willing to go with it. But conversely, if something that was out of canon, out of character happened within this huge gaping hole of canon, people would get upset about it. And I think you have to kind of take those like preconceived notions of the fact that they're going to go through with it and like try and make it match up perfectly, because like they're literally doing this thing. It's like people are sort of like putting it on like a pedestal to the point where it's like,
The funny thing about it is I think you did. I can't even remember what. I think it was at the very end of your last episode of.
Yeah, the Mentally Advanced series.
Yeah, the Mentally Advanced series. You added something to the end there about what Equestria Girls is.
Wait, hold on. Wait. You also what? You do the mentally what?
Yeah, he does commentary over the Mentally Advanced series.
Oh, I see. It's like wait a second. You're not Fan Philosophy. What?
I can't do a very good impression of them either, but yeah, it was funny too, because I put that in there, but that's not like extremely accurate to my thoughts on it, because I was honestly just like, I saw that the video was about 13 minutes or so in length, and I wanted to stretch that out over 15 minutes to see if I was still able to upload over 15, because that was right after I got rid of all the worldwide flags, so I wanted to test if my account was capable of uploading 15 minutes or longer. And that was really like the whole reason I put that whole audio segment in there at the end. Like,
and you're like,
apparently
this is a thing now.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I mean, it was partly played for laughs, but it was mostly just because I wanted to kill some extra time in the video to see if it would work.
Okay.
Namely, I wanted to, because that does actually really, I'm really skeptical about this whole thing, obviously. I really don't have good feelings. I'm not very optimistic about it.
Equestria Girls is a black hole from which no canon can escape.
But no canon enters it to begin with.
You know what's funny is I like to think that thing that they found in the season 3 premiere where they went down all the stairs and they found the door that you open that takes you, like, you see the thing that you most want to not see. I think that's the portal that they're going through.
Oh no.
That would be hilarious.
That's the
end
part
is
of
just
it,
like,
that's the
whoa,
trailer.
that'd be...
So that's what Spike saw.
That is.
I'm a dog. Oh no.
Wait.
Twilight, don't leave me.
What if the entire trailer is just a mirror into that thing, and we're just all seeing the thing we want to see the least?
Oh my gosh, you have just figured out the entirety of season 3 and season 4.
So
Thank you.
Mind blown. All right.
But I think, in general, it's more like something else that's been bothering me about this whole movie business is that everyone on the internet, like when they first heard about the trailer coming out, everybody was like, "Oh man, Equestria Girls, this is going to be complete garbage." And then, like, within 2 days, everyone was getting extremely, like, self-righteous, like, acting like huge zealots, like, the entire fandom is going to garbage, and I am the one and only person who will speak up in lieu of this movie. Like, everyone has this weird sense of entitlement and, like, elitism over other people that don't like the movie idea, and they have this weird, like...
That's not necessarily true. The problem that we have, and this is the problem with the entire community, and they've done this before. The people that have a problem with it are the ones that talk the loudest about it. That's where
Silent majority.
There's a fair portion of the community that don't have a problem with this movie and are actually looking forward to it, but they're not speaking as much as these people that are just like ranting.
Actually, I'd say the largest section of the community probably doesn't give a shit about the movie one way or the other. It's just sort of like, okay.
Hello.
I may have phrased that incorrectly. I think what I meant to say was that I understand that a lot of people are going to like it and a lot of people don't liking it, or aren't liking it, rather.
Don't liking it? Wow.
That the people don't liking it know how English. But
Okay.
I think the main problem is that like the people who do like it and who are looking forward to it are putting themselves on a pedestal, and like, because you can see all these videos coming out like within just a few days of the trailer that are like, I personally thank DHX Media for putting this out there. I really appreciate everything you've done, and like they're almost putting themselves up. They've got like this weird elitist feel where they're trying to like,
here's my podium. I will now stand on it.
Yeah.
Would you like to respond, Lightning?
And there's a soapbox on top of the podium.
Because they're acting like, if you aren't looking forward to the movie, you're some kind of bigoted heathen, and it's kind of like, it looks like garbage. Like, based on the trailer, I think it looks awful. And am I not allowed to say that it looks like crap? I mean,
the kind of animation that they do, I don't think it's very flattering with fingers. Because the line style is very big. But, it looks decent.
I mean, I don't think it looks particularly bad animation-wise. It's just like...
Oh, no.
Just like I said, if somebody went and took Lion King and like made all the lions into humans and put them in high school, everybody would have a problem with it. But since it's MLP, it's somehow like not a stupid idea. Like,
actually,
I think it's just because we're so used to that idea that for the most part it's not as bad as we think it is.
So that's the idea, is that they're supposed to be that age anyway, but Equestria doesn't have a high school like our world does.
Magic Kindergarten.
So,
no, silly.
Yeah, this is like, well, if they're high school age, let's see what they would do if they were put into a human situation where they had high school to deal with.
Yeah, though this actually brings up a point that Finflam Philosophy argued really eloquently in a on his forums, where he was talking about the fact that by the nature of the show as it's presented in the show compared with high school, there is an inherent inferiority to the high school story in that it kind of, like the strict structure of an educational system, especially the U.S. educational system, means that you cannot have the same level of freedom that you have with characters who are, self-empowered enterprisers. Rarity can't be a fashion setting, fashionista. She can't, create fashion. All she can do is follow other people's fashion trends.
Unless you have a show on Nickelodeon.
Yes, unless you have a show on Nickelodeon.
But now, I mean, you got to think about this. How are the characters going to be transferred over? Obviously, Applejack is not going to own an apple orchard, but she might be a farm girl, though.
She might like apples.
Rarity is not going to own a fashion store. However, she might dress very fashionably. She might be.
She'll be a minor.
But we're trading in, self-empowered female characters for, high schoolers. High schoolers who are, by the nature of high school, forced into restrictive roles, because that's what high school does. That's what the point of high school.
Like Rainbow Dash, for example, is going to be an athlete because that's what she is.
Does this mean we're going to have like definitive ages for the main six, or is this just not going to be canon whatsoever?
Or they could just not give ages whatsoever.
I mean,
I don't know. They could though.
Completely outside the canon of the actual show. Obviously, I mean, I would assume they'd be like senior age. It would be like 18 years old for this movie.
I don't know.
They could all have been held back for like a couple of years.
They don't usually do high school settings for senior characters. Generally, they usually have them right smack dab in the middle, so they can also have other characters of freshmen and seniors.
No, usually if it's a high school movie, it's seniors that play the major role. Obviously, like I'm thinking of like, Grease back in the 80s. They were all seniors during that show.
Yeah, but
that wasn't about high school, though.
Grease was about older characters.
I'm sorry, Grease was about high school.
Was it?
Yeah, but hold on. Here's the thing. Grease and movies that there are plenty of high school movies that feature seniors, but they're generally not aimed at people who are younger than high school age. They want to use seniors because seniors can have sex, seniors can do drugs, seniors can do things that aren't appropriate for characters of a younger age group.
So can all the other graders.
Yes, they can, but it's more socially acceptable. I mean, Grease had an abortion subplot.
Grease
condemned it with juniors.
as a demographic, they sold the Grease demographic was high school. Whether you were a freshman or senior, it didn't matter.
MLPs isn't high school. It's pre-high school.
It's pre-middle school.
The target demographic are little girls. They are pre-high school children.
We are an anomaly.
We are the anomaly. Yeah.
There was another analysis that I watched about this. It's not the same demographic anymore. They're not marketing this movie towards 5 to 9 year old girls. It's getting a little bit older. It's getting a little bit older than that. I'd say 10 to 15 is now the target demographic for this movie. 10 to 15-year-old girls are going to be watching this movie more than
it's still middle school.
I would disagree with that, because what do a lot of young girls like? They want to imagine themselves being grown up, and what's the period of time when kids are technically grown up? High school.
Well, right, but I'm just saying, this is obviously a high school movie, but it's going to be those girls that are not quite in high school but almost there that are going to want to see this movie. The ones that are already in high school will probably like it as well. I'm just saying that,
It's kind of in the same effect to where, like, Family Guy mostly markets, like, I guess to, late teens and then, like, adulthood. But it also tries to have an appeal for, like, kids who want to feel super grown up. Because it never goes too... It never goes, like, too raunchy or too bad for kids to watch. And you'd still probably feel pretty comfortable with your kid watching, Family Guy.
Family Guy isn't a show that goes on HBO or Showtime. It's on Fox. So it can't go too far.
Yeah, but like I said, though, that also brings, like, an appeal in for kids that want to feel grown up. Like...
Oh, hold on. Think about it this way. Sorry. No, finish your thought.
Oh, no, I was pretty much done. I was just going to say you couldn't really deny that there was some kind of following,
Yeah, I was actually just going to say, think about it this way. It's obviously high school, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be junior year. Because 2 reasons. 1, seniors, the focus has shifted from prom being the end goal, which this movie does seem to be implying, to graduation and moving on with your life into, a wider world as being the focus.
Yeah,
juniors are still, all about prom. They're not yet to the stage where they're like, oh shit, what do we do with our lives now? Also, as I think it was Soundspeed said earlier, if you're in junior year, you can have the characters who are seniors. You can have the older characters. You can have a Big Mac or a Shining Armor XP who are sort of the older characters who are, kind of the cool older, guys or girls.
Now, at the same time, you have to think of it this way. The main goal of this, the main plot of this movie is saying, Twilight's brought over here to retrieve this crown that was stolen. Obviously, that's going to be handed out at prom. Okay, so she's working on getting that crown at prom time.
We need to make her the prom queen.
Oh joys!
Oh God, there's gonna be a queen.
But anyway, I'm just saying that.
Oh God, they better not make it the prom princess.
They could still be.
They will.
But her end goal isn't the graduation because she's going back to her own world. She doesn't care about graduation.
Not to mention, she's probably smarter than every person in that school.
Well, she cares about prom because that's her end goal. She wants to get that crown and then get back to her own world.
Yeah, but they also have to think about the other characters. The XPs of the rest of the main 6 and their desires.
I'm wondering how that works out because obviously they become friends and then she has to leave her friends to go back to her real friends that are actually in Equestria. And that's going to be interesting as well because obviously she makes these friends that are her
carbon copies.
I can basically tell you how it's going to end with those people. It's almost certainly going to end the same way it does with basically every other movie that involves, interdimensional travel sort of thing. It's like, we have to depart, but you will always be in my heart.
Yeah.
And
And then they'll write a letter to
And then
real
the portal
Queen
will
Celestia.
close.
Yeah,
and
they'll wave and they're sucked up.
Twilight will write a letter to the president, and then we'll go back to the portal.
What?
And then everyone will turn around. There'll be a new Twilight Sparkle carbon copy to replace her.
So wait, is there going to be a president in this world, or is there still going to be a princess?
It's an alternate universe in which Mitt Romney won the 2012 election.
Oh my god.
Okay, no politics. Let's not get into politics.
Wait, does that mean the school system actually works now?
Stop.
Hold on, gentlemen.
I love the panic that arose from that one statement.
Think about this.
I just love it. Twilight read another. Dear Mitt Romney. I learned what friendship was. Your faithful, true student, Twilight Sparkle.
Hold on. People, think about this. You know this will happen. End scene. You know, she's waving goodbye to her friends. You know, she's like, "You'll always be in my heart. I'll see you on the other side. We'll kind of be together in spirit and all that." But there's the one friend who she made who there isn't an equivalent for in her home. How sad. She goes up in the portal and comes back, and all her friends hug her, and she looks over and over to the side. Oh, what's that? It's the pony version of that guy who I met in the human world. Wow.
Oh, no.
This is, it's almost like destiny. My friend, it's like all my friends are back here again, and even the one I had to leave behind is here too.
And then she runs up and hugs him. The guard just like, what the heck is going on?
Wait,
I have no idea who you are.
It was like, for some reason, I feel like we should really be friends. I feel like this weird connection.
Oh no!
Isn't that crazy? No, it isn't.
Yeah, that's how it'll end.
I know where you're going
Princess,
with this.
What are you doing hugging me? This is very inappropriate for someone of your stature.
Duhat, are you saying that the next season is going to have a male character in it?
I'm just really...
I'd be okay with that, actually.
I'm really reluctant about this whole love relation thing, just because the show is targeted for such a young audience that love, it's not the right demographic for love.
They've had romantic subplots in these type of shows before. It's not that far off.
Not to mention the prince saving the princess. That's sounding like everything targeted at young girls.
You said it yourself. 10 to 15-years. They're all about that.
Role. As far as I know, it's going to be the main six that are going to be the main people fighting, for the crown or whatever.
I hope if they... sorry.
But you said it yourself, Lightning. The movie isn't being targeted at little kids anymore. It's 10 to 15-year-olds, and they are going to be in the market for a sappy romance story.
True. There definitely could be some romance, I suppose. If it is marketed towards a little bit of an older crowd. I find it out of character, but Hasbro would...
This whole movie is kind of out of character.
Well...
oh, shit.
They still kind of have their same personality. That was the idea, is that even as a human form, they'd still have their pony personality. Because
for the most part,
ponies themselves, the reason we like it so much is because they have a relatable personality. They have a personality that a human would have. So it wouldn't be a stretch to see a human have those same personalities.
Actually, I think that might be one of the big problems I have with the trailer too, because when you look at all of the characters in the trailer, like when you see it in the show, they're obviously pandering a little bit to stereotypes, only a little bit. Like everyone has a kind of stereotypical quirk, but they elaborate on that and they have like flaws and strengths, and they have differing values to their character. Whereas if you look at that trailer, like you literally just see like something that's just ripped off of like a list of...
To be fair, the trailer does the same thing that the opener does. Give a very, very, very brief one-scene description of each of the characters.
Flaws
big
take
adventure,
time.
tons of fun, et cetera, et cetera. It's mostly just there to kind of see, like, look, we have all these characters. You remember all these characters. You know all these characters. They're all here. We good? We good.
Yeah, flaws take time, which this trailer obviously didn't have.
And
which the movie may not even have.
Well, and that's one problem I have with the movie. They're talking about a runtime of 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's like, I don't even know of a movie that's an hour and 15 minutes long, because that just seems to be like too short.
Secret of Kells, that was easy.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I thought theaters had actually like a minimum runtime of like 90 minutes.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Equestria Girls is actually going to be rated R.
Well, I want it rated R.
No. Okay, we'll get into that later.
I want that.
Being that we're getting into that now, being that you mentioned that.
Okay, we're getting into it now.
Talk about this whole thing. Sound speed. Why don't you go ahead and read off what you talked about before?
Yeah.
We were talking because it is kind of interesting. We can discuss about that a little bit right now.
Yeah. So there was an Amazon page put up during a lot of the speculation when people were wondering if there was even a movie coming out, and when people didn't really know what Equestria Girls was going to be. There was a page put up for a movie just called My Little Pony Fall on Blu-ray that went up on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure it's an official page. Everything looks legit. It's just, I think by some accident somebody rated it R instead of G, and so on the product details it says it's rated R. And so, of course, the customer reviews decided to roll with that, and they started talking about all of the blatant Nazi imagery and grotesque execution scenes, and
it's amazing.
They're seriously so
To be
good.
fair, though, all the reviews were good.
I know.
Like, here's one
they
right
all
now.
enjoyed it.
I've had this page pulled open this entire podcast. So
you just honestly could not wait for when we got to that part.
I could not. I just had to instigate that. Here's the top review. 5 stars. A bit dark, but an excellent movie that pony fans will love. My Little Pony follows the epic MLP movie that the Brony fanbase has been waiting years for. Admittedly, the movie is probably not one to show to the children due to the R rating. The Nazi imagery was a bit unexpected, although I think the filmmakers were trying to make a point about how even a land as magical as Equestria must remain vigilant for corruption. The mass execution scene also went on a bit longer than I was comfortable with. But again, making great art sometimes means taking people out of their comfort zone. And of course, Daniel Ingram's music was amazing, as always. I think it was much better served by this film than it was in the Season 3 finale, because the songs felt like a much more natural part of the narrative, and for the most part avoided falling into the we're doing this thing category of musical number. Fluttershy's song about the loss of innocence literally brought tears to my eyes.
I want this movie so
As much as I know that they're hardcore trolling, I want that.
Yes, this is such a troll. I can't even say how.
I never thought it was legit, but I still think it's funny. It's something that still deserves to be mentioned because everyone's kind of glossing over it right now. And I
only
think
a troll movie.
No, it got to post on
this much.
That troll should direct the movie.
Here's the thing: they are not going to market a. Hasbro will never, ever market a movie to the Bronies specifically because
we're not a large enough demographic.
Right. Well, no,
happen.
To be honest, I seriously think Bronies are going to be the majority of the people that view this movie. But from a business perspective, they will never actually market a movie specifically for Bronies. And
I mean, it would make sense. It would damage the brand long term.
Rated R. That is obviously a mistake. It's not rated R. There's not going to be any Nazi symbolism.
You know that.
Unfortunately.
Scenes.
I mean, it's just hilarious if there was like a random swastika just somewhere in the movie.
It's not a swastika, it's a man-G.
The first time someone raises their hand to wave, I'm gonna just shout "Heil!"
That's probably not going to go over too well in the theater.
To be fair, it could also be a troll posting. I mean, don't forget that Daring Do and the Jungle of Terror was on Amazon.
Now, I'll have you know I purchased that on paperback, and I thought that was a very good read.
To be fair, 4chan is amazing at its writing. It has amazing writers working for it.
Amazon,
even on that one, though, it didn't claim to be official stuff. It literally said it was a parody, but to call it a parody would be to say that it is something of which it is not.
It's just, the fact of the matter is that Amazon does have a movie slated to come out in August. It's about 72 minutes long, which is about the same runtime as My Little Pony, and there was a mistake because it's rated as the movie is rated R. I'm pretty sure that is a mistake because there's no My Little Pony movie that's coming out that's going to be rated R.
Well, obviously this one.
Until they come to their senses and release Spiders is the movie.
MLP XXX, The Revenge of Fluttershy.
So, it's just a mistake. It's going to be rated G, but we're pretty sure that the movie for Equestria Girls is coming out in August.
Dang it, my hopes
Well,
for
actually,
a rated
no, didn't at the
PG-13
end of
Equestria Girls
the
are ruined.
at the end of the trailer, didn't it say it was coming out like June 18th or something?
Well, it's coming
June
out in
16th.
theaters. In theaters, it's going to be out in June 16th.
Oh yeah, but this is the DVD release, right?
Yeah, the DVD release is probably going to be out in August.
They
And,
could
Get
make
a VHS
it's
release.
already said it's also going to debut on the Hub on TV this fall as well. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of live streams of that and stuff. I'm probably not going to see it in movie theaters because honestly,
I am.
Honestly, I think movie theaters are going to be a little awkward right now.
I'm going to make it awkward.
There's going to be a lot of grown men in this movie theater when it should be little girls and their parents.
Okay, those ticket takers aren't expecting a bunch of adults to come see this movie. They are clearly.
I'm doing it just so I can
gonna
say
go in with my underwear
to
on the
the
outside.
ticket guy up at the front. It's like, sticks for Equestria Girls, please, and just see the look on his face.
Honestly, my brother actually went out and he bought one of those like rubber horse head things that you can put on from Amazon. And so I have one of those, and I really am tempted to like legitimately go to a movie theater with the horse head on, and then like get the tickets and literally go in there with the horse head on and sit there like the entire.
That would just scare
Put glasses over the horse head.
Gentlemen, listeners,
there will be families
there is a
leave at that
solution.
point in time.
On a somewhat
Instead
related
of laughing, you should just neigh. Just
On
whinny.
a somewhat related note, I had a friend who found something that he had when he was younger, very recently. And when he was younger, he had like a Naruto headband. So he gave it to me because he didn't want it. And so I'm thinking that's probably going to go on top of the horse head.
There is an easy solution to get into the theater without looking like a total creep. Go into the theater 4 weeks in advance of the film. Tell the ticket guy as you're buying the ticket that you were, writing new reviews for a local newspaper.
Right.
Go in the next week. Do the same thing. Next week, same thing. By the time Equestria Girls comes in, go to the theater, order a ticket, then sign, say, man, they give me the shittiest jobs.
Or you could just like borrow someone's child and go in with them.
That's okay. That just doesn't sound.
Can I just buy my tickets with you, please?
Well, I want one adult ticket, one child ticket, please. And then you wouldn't look like a complete freak.
Or you just go with like 10 of your friends and then they're
Wait,
like,
is there
11
actually-
tickets, please.
That's the thing is that we were kind of planning on doing this during Fiesta Equestria, which isn't going to work anymore because I don't think it's playing during that weekend in Houston. But there are like 3 theaters in Houston that are playing this movie.
Yeah,
I hope there are some theaters in Florida that are playing it, or
I
at
really
least
hope the
nearby where I
Grand's
live.
playing this movie because that's the one that I usually go to. So
I don't know if I'd see it, but yeah.
But I mean,
Put on your best hipster clothes and then go to it ironically.
Alright, I have a start here somewhere. Let me see here.
I need to get some duct tape and like get some glasses and put the duct tape on the middle of the 2 lenses and get a pocket protector. And...
You need some pens. Get all the pens.
Way ahead of you. That's how I look.
Here's what you do: just go up to the ticket counter, order the ticket, and go in, and act like nothing's happening. And no one
Act
can
like
say
everything's
nothing.
happened.
You need
Act
to
like
overly
all the
exaggerate
place.
everything you do. Like when you're getting the popcorn,
Like,
like when you're putting it under the butter machine, like make sure you get your hips in there.
Just shout 20% cooler references everywhere over the movie.
That'd be awful. That'd be great.
Would be awful.
I'll tell you this much: if someone's doing that when I'm up there at the theater, I will personally give them my ticket and tell them to go in for me.
I just don't know what went wrong.
we're talking about
Just randomly. No cause.
I guarantee it, there will be a group somewhere. And I don't know where it'll be. It might not be in every state, but there will be a group somewhere that goes there with like 10 people. And like as they're waiting for the movie, they'll be singing like songs from the show. And they'll be,
Oh, dude, are you kidding? That's gonna be us. We have like 8 people going on my group.
And it will be on YouTube, and it will be glorious.
Just ride an actual pony to the movie theater.
On a somewhat related note to that,
there's
that's
going
probably
to be that goes all out for this entire thing. I mean, I've been talking to some people about the Minnesota Bronies get together because that's the only get together that's anywhere near me that I would probably go to. But the problem is that I am a little bit self-conscious about going to this place with a lot of people and then just yelling out, belting out theme songs from the show that they do. Because they go to the Mall of America. We're talking about it has like 1,000 people or a couple thousand people a day that go through there, and they just walk through the halls singing My Little Pony songs that I would feel a little awkward doing if I were part of that group.
Just wear the toughest outfit you can find.
Yeah, and so I don't know if we're gonna do one of those groups because that's if you guys are a fan of Equestria Everfree Network, Final Draft is the head of that entire radio station. It used to be Everfree Radio, now it's Everfree Network because they have a lot more stuff than just radio. But Final Draft is the head of that, and he lives in Minneapolis. And he doesn't like to go to those meetups because they do some stuff that's a little extreme, and
I thought the Holocaust scenes were a bit weird. Nah,
have
never
this
mind.
image
That
in
was a failed reference to that review.
I'd still go see that, by the way.
I have this image in my head now of like an entire stampede of bronies just running towards theaters with the William Tell Overture in the background. And it's amazing.
I got that image in my head.
Just one guy in the middle of a crowd of people in a movie theater. This isn't Equestria.
No, duh, did you not watch the trailer?
But I mean,
some bronies.
So
you guys, seriously.
Here's what I'm thinking we can talk about is that the end of the movie. We know that Sunset Shimmer is pretty much the one that's been prom queen before. She's the one that's the main antagonist because she's trying to get that crown. It's the one part I don't understand because apparently this crown was already stolen, which means that she wouldn't have to be prom queen in order to get it. That's the one part. It's like, okay, how did the school get a hold of this crown in the first place? And why do they need to become prom queen in order to get the crown in the first place?
Maybe it's like the Millennium Puzzle. You have to win in a competition in order to get it.
Wait, unless
it's a high school.
Sunlight Shimmer, where her name is a red herring, and it turns out she's actually totally fine. But all of the alternate universe friends are like the mirror universe versions, and they're all basically dicks.
Oh my gosh, the elements of Discord are real.
I seriously doubt that.
That would be amazing, though, would it not?
MLP
there was too much hugging. There was too much hugging for that to be real.
Yeah,
in your trust.
Probably.
Although, did anyone see that one scene in the thing where they were like tossing the crown to each other, and there was like a giant beam of green energy?
Well, yeah.
Chrysalis.
Does anyone know what that was?
Chrysalis.
No idea. What that is. I would be amazed if Sunset Shimmer turned out to be a change. Oh my god, that would be awesome.
Discord.
What if it was all like a changeling plot, and they were just transforming people into humans?
Like Sunset Shimmer is Queen Chrysalis.
I'm starting to like this more and more.
I
like
will
our
enjoy
version
the
better.
movie if that's the case.
Actually, they probably wouldn't do that because it would isolate people who hadn't seen the season 2 finale.
I don't care. I'm starting to like this.
So Sunset Shimmer is Queen Chrysalis. That would be kind of interesting.
Who is Princess Cadence? Princess Cadence.
No. Rarity is Princess Cadence.
Who is Queen Chrysalis? Who is Sunset Shimmer?
Who is Best Pony?
Sure.
So Rarity, Chrysalis, and Sunset Shimmer are all best.
Who is Spike?
Spike is a dog.
Spike is everyone.
The dog was behind it all.
I'm not sure about Spike as a dog. I'm not sure how that's going to work out.
I don't think anyone's
because of his name, it kind of makes sense.
Is Spike as a dog going to be able to talk? That's going to be the...
better, or this is just really, really insensitive.
Like the dog in Twilight, the human.
Question.
Fun when they... What?
Is
My little
dog
human.
Spike going through the portal as well, or is he just some random stray dog who just finds Twilight when she shows up on Earth?
Well,
No,
no,
he goes through the portal with her.
If Twilight goes through the portal, she's going to have like a family and stuff like that. It'd be really interesting to see if she has parents or not. You know,
Does he poop out the messages now?
I like the idea that it's just like Spike is just some stray who happens to like find her.
Spike happens to be their dog that they have. You know, I can see that.
What about the messages?
What if there's a really touching scene in which Spike gets euthanized?
Oh God,
That's not.
that's just sad.
I do not need another Marley.
You know how he gets euthanized with a shot that looks like a swastika.
Here we go.
Oh,
Can we stop with the Nazi imagery, please?
Yeah, how about a happy scene? Like Twilight meets Scootaloo's parents in the human world, then goes back and like, I met your parent, the human version of your parents. She's just like,
turns out they're neo-Nazis.
Funny thing.
So I'm not. So
you know,
I have parents in the universe.
How about Scootaloo's parents euthanize Spike?
Hold on a second. The CMC are in this movie. We've seen their human versions of the CMC, but why are they in high school?
They're the little sisters of them.
Like I said, the main six were held back a bunch.
The main six are like 25 years old, but they're still in high school.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
How did the CMC get in high school if they're that young?
That's horrible.
They broke in.
I'm saying, why are the CMC in high school? I mean, granted, even if they're freshmen, they're still only like 2 or 3 years younger than their, sisters in Equestria, where I would assume them to be like 8 or, 9 years older.
Maybe it's a joint school. My high school
it could be a middle school and high school put together.
Like my high school was like literally right next to the middle school of the middle school for that.
Mine is too. But I mean, the part that we see them in, they're at a dance. I would assume that would be the prom.
I mean, they could invite them in there.
I had a school. Actually, there was another school that actually had the middle school and the high school share the gymnasium, so that to save on costs.
So
maybe it's just a joint school where they share resources.
If they're at a dance, I would assume that the dance that they're showing is the prom, because that's the big part at the end of the movie. And the prom that I went to was only for juniors and seniors.
Maybe they snuck in.
Yeah, there's also the alternative solution that basically that whole dancing scene is trailer fodder. Like, there's a dream sequence where she's dreaming about what the prom is going to be like. And there's just a scene with the CMC there because they can then put that in the trailer.
I mean, obviously, we're going to know that they're the CMC, but it might not be the same way in this world. Because let's say, for instance, this character that she meets, this love interest that Twilight meets, is Shining Armor. Let's see, he is Shining Armor. He's obviously not going to be her brother at the same time.
That'd be weird.
The CMC are probably not siblings with the main six either, and they could be their own characters that are high school age as well.
How about no?
That'd be
what if he is her brother, though? That'd be weird.
Incest in the morning, 97.1.
My little incest. I used to work. No.
You already did it. Anyway, I don't think the age gate on the prom would be a really big factor in this movie. I don't think they'd really pay attention to it if they wanted the CMC in the prom. They'd probably just let him in.
It's honestly entirely possible that the CMC have basically no role in the movie, and they just kind of show up in a group shot in the prom thing as part of.
That's probably true. It's probably a shout out. It's probably a shout out, but it's not. I mean, they probably don't have any real role.
I hope it's not. I hope they're in there because they're pretty cute.
And they're pretty adorable. But the thing is, like,
cute, but maybe not as high schoolers.
They're horrible dancers too.
Well,
hey, don't be dissing that chicken dance.
I'm sorry. Being that Scootaloo was dancing like a chicken, that's already a huge shout out right there.
She wasn't dancing like a chicken.
She was in the chicken dance.
You need to watch that again because she's dancing like a chicken.
Oh my god!
I thought we were finally starting to get past the chicken jokes.
To be fair, they
are
could also go with the obvious shout out of making Sweetie Belle do the robot.
Wait, she was?
No, that would have been really stupidly fan pandering, but they could have done that.
Apple Bloom just standing there like a dictionary.
Sweetie is more of a fan creation. The whole Scootaloo being a chicken, that was that was canon because they did that in an episode.
Yeah, but not
more or less.
That was more of a just, hey, you're a coward, less of a, hey,
and then they called her a dodo.
Chicken.
But I mean, now, what would be kind of interesting, because they've done this in the show, is if Sweetie Belle is like the smartest one of the group because she's the dictionary.
I would not equate textbook smarts with actual smarts. Just saying.
Especially since Sweetie Belle is often portrayed as kind of the moron of the group.
Exactly.
She will.
She's oblivious. She's not a moron.
She's not a
little
moron.
ignorant.
Like
she lacks common sense.
She's the first one to take the the dumbest and the kind of dumbest funniest answer to any question. Like they'll say, "Hey, let's do this." Apple Bloom will propose something, Scooby Doo will propose something, and then Sweetie Belle will propose the most ludicrously silly answer, and then
she's adorable.
Like I said, textbook smarts does not equal actual smarts.
Right. I mean,
grew up on the street, Sesame Street.
Cool, but she has no street smarts. Like I would expect Scootaloo to have a lot of street smarts, be the most like gangster of the group, whatever whatever you want to call that.
God, she holds her pistols sideways. Kill shot.
Oh come on, man! Seriously.
Water pistols, man. What did you think I was talking about? Kill shot.
Well, at least it wasn't a headshot.
If you eat enough pavement, you will get street smarts.
But I mean,
you just gotta get smart.
I seriously don't see this movie is an hour and 15 minutes long. It can't go too into depth. I don't expect it to be more than the main six. Actually having major roles in this. I think they could have done better. With the length. I bet it could have been longer, and they just cut out stuff for time because kids don't have the longest attention spans. You can't have a movie that's 3 hours long and market it towards children. You just can't because they don't have that kind of attention span.
And yet, my 6-year-old nephew watched Lord of the Rings and loved it and sat through the whole thing quite quietly.
That's not normal, though.
I think it would be if you have something entertaining enough.
Watch the movie.
If you have something entertaining enough, kids will watch it for however long it goes on.
Especially in this
there's some pretty long kids films.
Yeah,
one thing that
doesn't really matter.
One thing that I am excited for, the one thing that we know for certain is going to happen, is that Dane Ingram did the music for this movie. I'm very excited to see what he does with it because everyone loves the song.
It's an automatic, that's for sure.
I mean,
although like that fake review for the Nazi movie, I am kind of hoping it doesn't involve "We're Doing This Thing" songs, because those weren't exactly his best work.
Yeah, but Daniel Ingram himself said the music is going to be off the hook. I really hope that they.
Well, he's not going to come out and say it sucks.
Yeah, he comes up with a thing
I don't
like,
know.
"So hey guys, remember?
Assume that
done it before.
Sucked.
Do you remember the Holocaust? Oh. Yeah, this is like 10 times worse than that. Holy shit! I just wanted to kill myself when I was done writing this music because I am so ashamed of myself. Just stay away from the movie.
Like he wouldn't say anything if the music sucked. If he didn't like what he did, then he just wouldn't say anything at all.
Unless
the fact that he's coming out, the fact that he's
people
coming out and saying music is good, that the music is is going to be enjoyable, it means that it will be enjoyable.
Some of these people are the best at what they do, so
It's called advertisement. You lie to make your product sound better.
Daniel Ingram is the one marketing this movie, though. It's Hasbro.
Hasbro can pay him to say things that are good. Like
Lauren Faust gets creative payment.
I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm just saying it very well could be.
Doesn't Lauren Faust get some sort of payment for just the creative rights of some of this?
Don't advertise on Twitter.
Still.
I'm sorry. It's just not.
Actually, it is entirely possible for them to have him sign a contract that says once you've written the music, you then have to do X number of essentially promotions through social media.
That is scary.
It's
marketing.
Actually it's marketing. It's
Still
actually
scary.
relatively straightforward, and it's honestly not all that uncommon.
Capitalism.
Still scary.
I don't like the fact of of Hasbro making someone say this is.
Well, every company does that.
Yeah,
I understand that, but
Faust can't actually talk about how a lot of the things she wants to about the show. I mean, have you ever actually heard someone ask her about cadence? Her answer, like people say, "Hey, what do you feel about having a third alicorn in the show?" When you said in your script Bible that you only wanted to ever have 2 alicorns, her response, "I can't talk about that."
Well, she can't talk about that because she obviously she doesn't like the idea.
She has a contract. No, she has a contract that says she can't, basically talk out against the show
Well, she said that things are horrible in the past, or at least she's indirectly referenced that they are horrible.
Yeah, but she's never actually said, "Oh, this
Yeah.
decision being made is bad."
She referenced the character from Brave being more.
That was not about like MLP, at least not directly. That was about.
She was indirectly referencing that, at least.
Well, yeah, she was talking about Brave, and she was talking about American Girl dolls. She wasn't talking about MLP. Like, if she was saying that about MLP,
I'm sorry,
then she would get in trouble.
I'm going to say I love Cadence. I really do. I like the character.
No, I like.
Why are we talking
too.
about Cadence?
I'm fine with her.
But
because Faust doesn't like. Faust apparently doesn't like having a third alicorn.
Hasbro
I don't mind.
What about having a fourth one?
Therefore, they made Cadence. And as much as I like her character, that's all she is a marketing device.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, honestly, I don't have a problem with Hasbro wanting to make a third alicorn. In fact, I like character of Cadence. Yeah. What I'm saying is, not that Cadence is bad or that Hasbro was wrong to do that, but that's entirely possible for someone to have a contractual obligation not to talk about something in social media.
Okay. So, what else about Equestria Girls?
Well, here's the thing. Sunset Shimmer, as we talked about before, is going to be playing this character that's like the prom queen, like high school bitch.
The popular girl.
Bitch.
The popular girl. And it's like, what... do you see this as being a problem with the movie? Because as personally, from my high school, the popular girl was not always a bitch. It was it's just not the way it was. But I had a smaller school, so.
My school was huge. There were a lot of nice people, though. I never really had a problem with anyone being overtly mean unless they were actually like genuinely hating each other for actual reasons.
I haven't had any of that either. Some of them
I think the popular kid being a jerk trope kind of comes from the same place as the rich kid being a jerk trope. It's kind of like, most of the people who are going to be watching the film are not that person. So making that person the hero or a really nice, super awesome character is just sort of rubbing salt in the wound for people who are dealing with people who are legitimately, dicks in that position. Because you either make the person a jerk, in which case most of the audience is not going to be in that position of being super popular, and you'll actually have some people who are legitimately, bullied by people like that, and they're going to like it. Or you make the super popular person awesome, and then a whole bunch of people are going to be like, oh, great. So the super popular, super well-loved, super attractive person is also super nice? Holy crap. I can so relate to this amazing person.
I am infinitely inferior. I am not worthy to know this person. I am not worthy to be this person.
And it's really hard to, do a movie like this because you're going off of things like Monster High and stuff like that. I'm sure that's really getting all this. They're trying to ride this train because it's been successful elsewhere. Well, okay, we're going to try it with our stuff now. And MLP was the only thing that Hasbro owns where they could possibly do this, because they're not going to do this with like Transformers.
Transformers in high school. They're like little remote control cars.
Try that before.
MLP is their only chance of riding this train that's already been proven to be successful. So that's what they're doing. And we're going to see if they do it well or
not. Don't forget, we haven't seen the film yet. It could totally be awesome.
It could.
That's the problem that I have, and kind of the next point that I want to go into. I have a real big problem with these people that come out before they've even seen the show, before they've seen the movie, and they're automatically just dubbing it as the biggest shit ever, and they're just not even giving it a chance. And I have a really big problem with people that say that, because it could very well turn out to be just fine, and they're just over exaggerating like everyone did with Princess Twilight, which I thought turned out to be just fine as well.
Meh.
I don't really get why people care so much about this movie. To hate on it like they do, or to back it like they do.
It's the name of the thing. If it does badly, name of the thing. I didn't remember the word for it, but the brand.
The brand name?
Sure. Ponies in general. It's the name of the thing. So if that name gets trashed, then it will not do as well, and therefore, there would be a decline in the amount of success this show has and the amount of link that we'll have.
Yeah, let's put it this way: from a marketing perspective, Equestria Girls has had so much money put into it that if it tanks, like if it properly tanks, then it is going to cost Hasbro so much money it will negatively affect the main series. Even if they say it has no impact on the main series at all, if it does financially badly enough, it will 100% affect the main series. If it does, significantly well enough, it will also affect the main series.
MLP poverty is magic.
Yeah, Hasbro loses money on the brand.
It's probably going to do well no matter what. People want to see it, even if they think it's going to do bad. They're going to see it just to prove themselves right. So even if it is a bad movie, I feel like it's going to get enough views to make them enough money to say, "Oh, well, it must be good."
It'll be a financial success whether or not it's an actual success.
Well, here's the thing. It's not just about the movie being a success. It's about they've already said that the movie is going to also launch a toy line, a fashion line, and a couple of other things.
A fashion
line?
A fashion line.
Bikinis are
I swear to God,
I'm going to wear MLP underpants.
Is going to be, associated with a fashion
No, I thought
line.
that was just something stupid.
No, nope.
Man.
It is a major marketing point in their, current, goal, like in their current corporate goal.
MLP Speedos.
That's ridiculous.
That's what I'm speculating. I'm speculating that it's going to be like a test for a new IP. If this does well, they'll make a series.
I hope.
But here's the thing. If it does really, really well, then it'll either be its own series or it'll start making changes to the main series because they think that'll make more money for them if the show takes on more elements of the movie, which happened with SpongeBob, actually. If it does super badly, then they're not going to want to risk investing as much money into MLP, which is going to mean that the show budget gets slashed and Hasbro starts taking more direct control of the thing. Best case scenario is it does pretty well. It does solidly well without, setting the world on fire and making them want to incorporate elements of the movie. Or
so well enough that they're happy, but not well enough that to encourage them to keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless, of course, that the movie turns out to be like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then we're all like, "Holy shit! Please incorporate these elements into the show. They're so good."
That could entirely be possible. Actually.
Just look at My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
Exactly.
But then you've got to look at the odds of a movie based off a TV show of a deviant of a TV show turning back into a series. What?
They're astronomically low, but
think about
then becomes a book.
If when you think about the show being a series, like it would be like having a show be. It's hard for me to explain it, but like let's say the movie did really well, and they made a new IP of it.
I could see them doing that. I mean, look at the Transformers on the hub. They have the Transformers Prime and they have the Transformers Rescue Bots. One's for really little kids and one's for older kids.
Right. I mean, as long as if they make an IP for Equestria Girls, I just want to keep it separate from.
Yeah, and they are completely separate from each other. One doesn't in no way affect the other, except for the fact that they have the same brand name of Transformers.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if they do Equestria Girls as its own spin-off thing, they already have established the creative team behind it will be the same one as MLP. Remember last time they had a bunch of voice actors and writers and musicians from MLP working on a different show? Remember the length of the season? Remember the length of the season that went alongside that new show?
Oh no.
Wait, I don't know. What are we talking about?
Season 3
Little Pet Shop.
And Littlest Pet Shop. AKA the show that took a bunch of the writers, a bunch of the animators, a bunch of the everybody from the creative team of MLP to do a different show, and they had to cut season 3 in half because.
Now, are we sure that was what happened, or because I was under the assumption that it was 13 episodes because Hasbro only bought 65 episodes for the show, and because they weren't expecting it to be as successful as it was. So
I don't know about that.
They bought 65 and then they added more.
I do know that they brought on new writers because they had some of the main writers working on Littlest Pet Shop.
When they started working on season 3, It was because they signed a contract saying we want to get to 65 episodes. That's what we need to make the show syndicated. So so they made the third season exactly 13 episodes so that they could do exactly 65 episodes. That's what they the contract for, and that's all they wanted to do. It was only the fact that it was so popular that they went on to the fourth season.
Yes, but they did have to take off writers from the main series. They had to get a whole bunch of the writers, which is actually why we had a bunch of really weird we had a bunch of new writers in season 3, because a lot of the main writers were working on Pet Shop. Well, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. There were some really good episodes in season 3 with the new writers.
I liked pretty much all the season 3 episodes.
Megan McCarthy is also working on The Littlest Pet Shop as well, I thought. I'm not sure who the writers are for The Littlest Pet Shop. I don't think Megan McCarthy is one of them.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
The lead writer for MLP.
Yeah, but think about it this way, okay? Imagine you have a third show. Imagine you have Equestria Girls. You have 3 shows with the same basic creative team working on all of them at the same time. There is no way they can maintain a level of quality over all 3 projects.
Well, and that's why they do have more writers coming onto the show and more writers that are being introduced.
And besides, we have the same.
And one thing that I'm really, really excited about is that I always forget her name. The writer, huh?
Which writer?
The writer that did the Friend Indeed episode. That wrote the Smile song.
I am blanking on a name. Give me a minute.
She's the one that she left the show. She did season 1, season 2, and she left during season 3 because she was doing Care Bears at that time.
Amy Keating Rogers.
Keating, that's who it is. She's coming back, and she did do some writing for season 4. I know that for sure.
Nice.
And I'm really glad that she came back. She did some really great episodes. So Amy Keating Rogers is coming back for season 4. M.A. Larson is going to be writing for season 4. Megan McCarthy is writing for season 4. And it's a lot of really good writers that are going to be writing for season 4.
Oh yeah, no, I got no doubt.
I'm excited for season 4.
Yeah, I got no doubt that season 4 is going to be freaking amazing. I'm talking about season 5. I'm talking about if Equestria Girls season 1 comes out at the same time as Pet Shop 3 and MLP 5, that's when I start getting nervous.
Well, here's the thing. Just because they're working on the movie doesn't mean that they would all be automatically assigned to the show.
If the movie is a huge enough success that they decide to make a television series based off of it, they're probably going to want the same people.
They're going to have the show have the same creative team. If they do make a show, this is complete speculation on our part that they're going to make a show at all. But if it does well, it sounds like a pretty good idea that they're going to make a show as a spin-off.
Well, let's also keep in mind how much of a gap we tend to have in between seasons. I mean, it's been months since the last episode, and we're still going to be waiting months until the new one. Perhaps they would work on it so that the new show would be in that time span, so they could be working then. And then when the new season of MLP starts, then they can switch over and ramp up production for the other one. And so they don't have to devote all of their time to 3, instead they can kind of like 2.5 each.
I guess you could say that. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, because we know that it's been, was it February that the last episode premiered, or was it March?
I want to say March, but I could check an air date. Give me a sec.
I think it was February.
Yeah.
I'm going to say February.
Then we're waiting until fall, and we don't even know if winter. It's going to be winter. We don't even know if it's going to be 2013. It could be January or February of next year, so it could be almost a year that we're waiting for this new thing, and it's because of the movie. I know that the movie is part of the reason this production is taking so long, is because, they had season 3 that they were working on, but at the same time they were working on this movie, but that's why they only have 13 episodes in the third season, because half of the production team was working on the movie at the same time.
Let's see here. I think we managed to find out when the air date for the next series is. February 16th.
Wait, really? February?
No, silly. That's just the date and time that's just the date that Magical Mystery Cured aired.
Oh, okay.
February 16th? No, seriously, guys. I time traveled forward so I could see it. It's
So
fucking
February
awesome.
16th is when Magical Mystery Cure aired, and we might be waiting until January of next year. However, I'm fairly positive in the fact that we'll see at least episode 1 of season 4 before it gets to 2014. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm predicting December, early December.
I'd say December.
Maybe a bit earlier.
Maybe
but...
late November. You know, I would hope for late November, but you know, I'm not going.
Well, if we're going off hope, I'm hoping for October, but that's not going to happen.
October.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, season 3 aired in November. I think I'm pretty sure that November was their first episode somewhere around.
I think it was October.
Hold on.
I think October was season 2 was airing. So I think season 3 was in November. Anyway, regardless of whether or not it does well for its own show, we just have to hope that Hasbro keeps in mind what it was that got them this far in the first place, which is
they won't.
Friendship is they won't, but still, we can still hope that they will.
No,
I mean, they have their eyes on money, which means if they take their eye off of the thing that was so far making them the money.
We should all write very angry letters to them.
Yes,
that'll
we
work
should.
out well.
No. Here's the thing. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. I actually had a big reaction to this. Don't take it out on the creators. They're doing what they have to do. Hasbro is behind this whole thing, but don't blame the creators for this.
Never even thought of it.
They did a very good job with this movie. And
Don't blame bloody Hasbro until you see what they actually do. I mean,
it's really disheartening for them because they've already gotten several emails and letters saying, you know, how could you do this? This is the worst thing you could possibly do. And
really, that's terrible.
And there are people from DHX that are just considering quitting. Just they don't even want to deal with this, and they want to leave the show because of this. And it makes me mad because they could do such a great job with this, and
they do.
And you know, people are just are just
they don't know how the hierarchy works.
And so that I think that's the part that gets me the most is the fact that this could be very good. It could be if they do it right.
Are you serious? They've considered quitting because of this?
That's terrible.
That's awful.
To be fair,
that should never come. It should never have to come to that.
I mean, the thing is, like, don't forget, if you're surprised that, they were, considering possibly quitting over getting handled, don't forget that, Amy Keaton Rogers, request, like when asked by Hasbro, did throw in her, a request to have Derpy's name removed from the episode because she had been receiving hate mail from people, over an issue that was very near and dear to her. So it's not exactly unreasonable for someone to basically have, something, thrown in their face that, means a lot to them, and basically taking, the quickest out to get the hell away from that sort of, nastiness.
Amy Keaton Rogers was one of the people that took the name Derpy to heart. It was a lot like Lauren Faust, and I don't know if you ever heard her initial song when she sent in the lyrics for the Smile, Smile, Smile song. Derpy's name was mentioned, and they did cut that from the.
Ooh,
did they really?
And what line of sorts?
This is the first time hearing of this.
I can't say for sure. If you guys listen to the Equestria Inquirer interview that they had with her during BronyCon of last year.
I did. I didn't hear it.
Because they talked to her, and it was kind of a impromptu thing. She happened to remember the original version that she sent in to Daniel Ingram. Well, and she's a really good singer, by the way. Amy Keaton Rogers is a really good singer, and she actually did a impromptu version of her original version of the song.
It had a different tempo. It was interesting.
Which had a verse that was not aired in the final product. It was kind of like a bridge or whatever that they didn't add. And it mentions Derpy's name as Derpy Doo. And so, I mean...
great. Just what we need. Some more fire for the Derpy versus Ditzy argument.
I don't know if that was Daniel Ingram that took that out, or if it was...
Ditzy Doo is actually a separate one, I think.
Because at that point in time, that was episode 18, I believe. So this was like 4 episodes after the whole Derpy incident with episode 14. So I don't know what what happened there with that song. If it was just cut for time, or if it was cut because they had Derpy's name in the song or not.
We're about to pass the hour-and-a-half mark for this.
That's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons
this has been a very intellectual conversation. We talked about politics, Nazis.
We did not talk about politics.
Yeah, we did.
That's what was fun.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, honestly, like, just for the record, I don't have any problem like with Amy Keaton Rogers' original decision to not want Derpy thing, and it's great that she's kind of come back around on that, but there's absolutely no one who has any right to badmouth her for her original decision there.
Because
what is the decision you're talking about? Because I don't remember that.
She originally, when the original Derpy controversy came up, because she was the writer, Hasbro asked her what her opinion on it was, and she was basically, I have a son who has mental disabilities, and if it is actually offensive to people with mental disabilities, I don't want to support that. I don't want to make fun of my son. I don't want to make a retarded joke. I don't want my name attached to that.
Well, okay.
Yeah, and Amy Keaton Rogers goes into this. It's very briefly mentioned in the Brony documentary, but her son is mentally challenged, or there's some kind of disability there, and I'm not 100% sure what it is. But and so when she does stuff with Derpy, it's not ever to make fun of anything. If not, it's to say that's okay. There's nothing wrong with the character. What she's doing, and maybe it's portrayed wrong to some parents or whatever. Parents are overreacting to it, because that was what the whole big deal was. I don't think there was any Brony ever that complained about it, but it was the parents of the young kids saying, "Wait a minute, did we just see a mentally challenged pony in this series that was supposed to be kids?"
Never mind. Didn't somebody called Purple Tinker? Wasn't she involved?
Oh, fuck Purple Tinker.
Let's not just.
We're
not getting into her right now. She has her own.
She has her own issues, and we're not going to get into that because that's a whole another.
Okay, I don't even know about it. I just had to do.
It's nasty. We're not getting into it. It's really uncomfortable and just. Ugh.
Okay, explain it to me later then.
Yeah, I will. Just not here.
We're going to end this off really quickly, but what I want to do to end this off
30
is
minutes later.
After this entire discussion, after everything we've talked about, I want to hear what you guys have to say, what you guys expect from Equestria Girls, what you want to see.
I expect nothing. I don't really care.
I'm optimistic. I look forward to it, and at least seeing the animation style on the big screen, hopefully. That'll be fun. Big, colorful stuff. I haven't seen an 2D animated movie in theaters in ages, and it should be just fun to do that, if it's anywhere near me.
I am hopeful that it is good, but I am not optimistic about it being good, and I have a sneaking suspicion that despite assurances that it will have no effect on season 4, that it almost inevitably will have some sort of effect long term on the series. But having said that, I reserve final judgment on this movie until it's actually come out.
Sure.
I'm excited for this movie. I would love to see it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. You there?
Hello.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
boy.
Sounds good.
You alive over there? Did you remember to
hello?
unmute your microphone?
Be you man or
Okay.
mouse?
That is a bad idea. I was getting really pissed off this entire podcast. People were ignoring me, but it turns out my fucking mic just totally short-circuited out about 25 minutes ago.
Oh. We couldn't hear you at all.
Well, now I know that.
I was wondering why you were so quiet.
I thought
Are there any opinions you would like to go over that you did not get to speak? Well,
I forgot how to, I was really confused, legitimately upset. I was, screaming, syndication, syndication, syndication.
Why did you type in the chat box to see why we were ignoring you?
I thought you guys could hear me, and you were just ignoring me.
No!
I typed the chat, so...
We wouldn't ignore you.
We're not mean. Well, not all of us.
Well, okay, I'm not mean, but okay, maybe I am.
Not all the time.
Well, is there anything...
Sounds sweet. I'm really sorry that your mic shorted out. Is there anything that you would like to add to this, that we've already gone over?
The sound speed moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't remember anymore. I'm, legitimately upset.
Come on!
Anger is a heck of an anesthetic.
What's your opinion on Equestria Girls, then? Looking to orbit.
I think that Equestria Girls, I'm kind of pessimistic towards it, which is reasonable, but I'm interested to see how it transitions over to the big screen and what we can expect. I really do want to see it, and I'm curious to see what it comes up with, but I don't think that it's going to match up to any kind of Nazi imagery.
Unfortunately.
I mean, obviously.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
We can't hope for that.
Personally, it's just my character to be optimistic towards anything, and I think that they can do the movie well, and I'm really hoping that they do the movie well. Like I said, I may not see it in theaters. I may see it when it premieres on the Hub this fall, and we'll see what happens with it. But I'm optimistic that they can do the right thing with this movie, and I think they can do it well.
Also, that was something I wanted to bring up too earlier, was that with, like you said, how people are likely going to be streaming it later, I think that actually might have a decent impact on their box office revenue, because the reason that the whole YouTube copyright thing is going down right now is because they want to sell the rights for syndication, because they hit the 65 episode mark. And that was also the reason why season 3 was so small, because they wanted to fit that 65 episodes exactly. And so I actually think that the movie might not do very well in box offices, because the majority of the bronies are probably not going to go out and watch it in theaters, but are rather going to wait until it gets streamed when it's being aired on the Hub.
I can't afford to see a lot of movies. I haven't even seen Star Trek yet, and I really want to see that.
Well, yeah, I'm going to see Star Trek within the next 3 days. But anyway...
I'm not!
I'll probably be waiting until it comes on DVD.
Well, you're going to be waiting a long time.
I know. I'm upset about that. There's not even a theater near me there's one theater near me. It's a giant IMAX Globe theater thing.
Oh.
And it's terrible. Oh, I get so nauseous in that thing. I saw one movie in it. It was probably the worst movie I could have seen, Inception. I was staring up Leonardo. I was staring up Leonardo DiCaprio's nose half the time. It was terrible. Anyway, one thing I want to add about this Equestria Girls thing is the Brony community beat Hasbro to this idea a long time ago. We've been doing this for years. So the fact that they're doing it, they really shouldn't be this upset about it.
When I first saw the trailer, I'm like, this is Anthropology, the movie.
Woohoo!
Only with a far less stellar storyline.
Well, and I'm going to admit this right now. I never read the entire thing in Anthropology. I've only heard synopses of the entire thing.
Blasphemy. You did the review in Fanatic Fiction. How could you not have read it?
I didn't. I was not part of that review. It was only BT.
I was there, or I wasn't there. I edited it. I know who was there.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so I wasn't there for that review because I didn't read the story because it was too long for me to read. I didn't.
Okay, never mind.
And too dull.
Whoever edits this can edit out that argument then.
But anyway, it's just anthropology was so loved by this community, and it's kind of a split. There's a lot of this community that likes humanized ponies, and then there's like another part of it that is just completely opposed to that idea and hate it with a passion.
Wait,
and the people that are speaking out about this movie saying it's going to be shit because of the concept. The concept alone, they're saying it's going to be crap. And I think that this could do very well if they do it the right way.
It's going to be hard to do it the right way, though. That's the problem. I wish them luck. I wish them luck. I'm not interested, but I wish them luck.
I have faith in the writers.
Well, of course, I
believe in Emma Larson. I don't know if she's writing for the movie, but yeah.
Isn't it Megan McCarthy?
I don't know.
We believe in Megan McCarthy too.
I believe in Megan McCarthy as well.
I believe in Santa Christ.
I have a dream.
So anyway.
And he likes pancakes.
Everyone likes pancakes except Surefire.
That is about all the time we have. Right now we're going off into tangents that we shouldn't be going off into.
Because AR's here.
I like this tangent.
AR's not even here. How are we going off on tangents like this?
Huh?
Hang on, is he online?
No, AR's not online. AR's never.
You don't know that.
I do know that. What time is it where you are?
9.
Yeah, he's probably still at work then, or on his way home from work to go to sleep.
Yep.
So we should really end this off because it's drawn on for long enough now. But pretty much, I think the main census that we've come to is
Nazis are good in this movie. That's the census we've come to.
The census
and they also like pancakes.
We're kind of waiting for the movie to come out.
I'm not.
We'll talk about it when the movie does come out. Depending on how much I've seen it, maybe we'll do another episode like this where we actually talk about the movie and review it after we've seen it. But right now,
I won't be there because I can't afford to go to it.
Well,
I have to see it because we're reviewing on Intent.
Oh God! Oh God!
As soon as it comes out,
there is no way I'm going to see this in that IMAX theater.
I'm really looking forward to a pony monologue from Hitler Pony.
Anyway, so this I think that's all we have to talk about right now. So thank you guys for joining me for this discussion.
No, thank you.
Hi.
All right, so that was our Equestria Girls conversation. I know that it was kind of intense. Like we said, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens and see how it turns out. So,
man, I can't believe my voice recovered so quickly after, only 30 seconds. Yeah, no.
The things that they don't know about our show. Well,
the things that they probably suspect about our show.
Everyone knows that those are recorded.
Recorded separately.
So, yes. Let's see here. Going on to news, different news that has come out in the last week or so. There was something that was posted today that Serial Velocity might be doing this with every member of the main six now that he's done it with 2 so far, and so I'm wondering where he's going with it. So we have Rarity as Cadence, and now he's put out 4 reasons why the Apple family secretly controls Equestria. So, Serial, I don't know what you're doing.
Serial, you were a strange person,
but I mean, I could see Rarity, because here's the thing, Serial Velocity is a huge Rarity fan, so I could see why he would put that out. But now that he's done one with Applejack, I'm wondering if he's just going to do something ridiculous for all the main 6 now.
Honestly, wouldn't have a huge problem with it.
I know, these are pretty entertaining to read. Like I said, they're kind of long and in depth. So I'm not going to go into what they said about her, but definitely take a look at it because these are rather humorous.
Go to EQD, search for Serial Velocity, look through his stuff until you find the article and read it. Trust me, it's fun.
Now, as for other things that have come out that were written, Fluttershy had her new micro series launch.
It's currently sitting on my counter, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
I buy it on Comixology, and I have digital stuff.
So Fluttershy micro series has come out. Neither of us has read it.
But that's okay. It just came out today. So, you've read the Rarity one. I haven't read the Rarity one yet.
I've read the Rarity one. I've read the Fluttershy one. No, not the Fluttershy one. Damn it, no. I've read Rainbow Dash, Twilight, and Rarity. And if the trend are continuing, Twilight's one was crap. Rainbow Dash's one was better. The Rarity one was amazing. So, logically, and ignoring the fact that the fact that the Rarity one was probably amazing because Katie Cook and Andy Price were the creative team behind that one. Fluttershy's one must be the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Was it Katie Cook and Andy Price that worked on it?
No. That is why I'm saying that you have to ignore that fact.
Okay.
But hey, I don't know the creative team behind the Fluttershy one, and maybe they're awesome. So I have my hopes up.
Fluttershy's cute. We can deal with it.
Yeah, Best Pony is Best Pony. So
So yeah, I still have to read the Rarity one, but apparently that one was amazing, and so
really was.
We might. Well, no, never mind. That's not going to happen. I'm wondering how long the second arc is, because they've put out on iTunes Comic 8.
Yeah.
A preview of Comic 8 just came out.
Yeah, the final book is the final issue is issue 4. Each of the arcs is 4 long, and then we go back to Katie Cook and Andy Price for, instead of doing another 4-part arc, they're going to do two part arcs. So I think I know one of them is about Big Macintosh, and I want to say that the other one's about the Kingdom Crusaders, but no, because the CMC are getting their own micro series books is what's happening with them.
Right, but here's the thing: is that I'm just thinking if they have a preview for Comic 8, that's the last book of that arc, right? The second arc.
Yeah, that is the last book in the. Well, I won't say what the arc should really be called, because that's spoilers. But yeah, it's the last part of the second arc.
Okay, so that means that the Comic 8, if they have a preview out for it, then I'm sure the comic is going to be out sometime within the next month, right?
Yeah, it should be out sometime around the middle of the month.
Okay, here's the thing. If the second arc comes out in the middle of June, I will read it, and we will do another review of the second arc. Because we did a review of the first arc for the Lightning Round, and if the second arc finishes in the middle of June, we'll do another episode of the Lightning Round where we'll review the second arc. Because the first arc was really good, and I've heard good things about the second arc. However, I have not read any of it yet. Because I want to buy the second arc all at once, because then I can, read it all at once, and I don't have to have, cliffhangers or whatever. So that's what I'm planning on doing is buying it when it's done, and then we'll do a discussion about that in the middle of the month.
Awesome.
So there was also news. Duhad, did you hear about the book, the guide to My Little Pony?
I heard about it before it came out, but I haven't.
Yep, the Elements of Harmony is the official guidebook.
Yeah, I heard a lot about it before it came out, but I haven't heard anything about it since it came out.
Well, they talked a little bit about it, but it wasn't about the book. Someone on the production team mentioned that it showed a picture of one of the pages having different ponies and their names. However, Cloud Chaser was labeled as a pony called Stormwalker, and that's gotten some people really confused. Right. Well, there was one of the people who works on the book came out with a description of what happened, and so pretty much what happened is that Hurricane Fluttershy was when Cloud Chaser first premiered. That was the first episode that she was in, and what happened was that the name for the Pegasus in their files at the studio is Stormwalker.
Right.
But when the script for Hurricane Fluttershy came out, there was both a Cloud Chaser and a Stormwalker. But Stormwalker was cut before storyboards, and Cloud Chaser was never designed.
Right.
So they took Stormwalker's design and put Cloud Chaser's name on.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think there's actually sort of a similar thing where the character that everyone, now is kind of like there's the whole, like, Derpy/Ditzy. According to Faust, the character of Derpy was not actually the character Ditzy. Like,
right.
Derpy Hooves is not the same character as the character of Ditzy that was mentioned in Winter Wrap-Up.
Right, Ditzy was just never designed. There was never a design for it.
Yeah, and Faust has actually said, like, even if there was going to be a design, it was not the one they used for Derpy. Like, Derpy didn't have a name, but that was not the Ditzy they were referring to.
Right. And, Lauren Faust has been doing some things recently. She, she had that fundraiser, and then recently she's also come out with a couple more questions.
Yeah. And she did the whole trolling thing on Twitter for a while where she was just, coming up with ludicrous, trolly, answers to questions no one was asking. But, those were pretty obviously a joke, and she's actually been doing some serious Q&As with people who donate to various charity drives that she's part of. And there's some interesting stuff there. She also apparently, and I thought this was a joke, but I guess it really wasn't. She apparently went on /MLP, the 4chan board for
yes.
My Little Pony, and was actually there doing stuff. And considering the nature of /MLP, the fact that she came out of it actually with a relatively positive attitude and basically just being like, hey, you guys were actually, pretty sweet.
Well, no, she understands, it talked about this while she was on /MLP. It's like, you got to go through some crap to get, to get to the,
yes.
The
you have to get through piles of things that I cannot mention on this show, but there is, the fandom actually did get its, start, like, on 4chan. So, there is still a heart there. A heart covered in crazy and porn, but...
Well, and they were nice. I mean, I think the overall experience was positive. They came out afterwards, gave her, like, a big thank you letter.
This giant thank you card, which is actually unbelievably sweet of them. Honestly, like, that is kind of cool.
So, it is pretty cool.
Yeah. So, kudos, hats off to you, 4chan. For once, I can, mention you in a positive light without having to justify it by saying, well, I obviously wasn't, searching it for horrible pictures. I was searching it because I wanted to laugh at the horrifying nature of your website. I'm not doing a very good job of thanking you, but point is, you guys did good. You guys did real good.
Now, I'm not going to put up the video, but I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's going on because I know these guys and they're friends of mine. The people over at Midnight Magic Productions have put out a new video. For those of you that are unaware, Great Din is one of the people that work for Midnight Magic Productions, and he's in charge of their brand new radio play. Or no, it's not a radio play because there's going to be animation with it as well. It's kind of like a... I don't even know what you call it. It's like a radio play, but it has pictures to go along with it. It's kind of like an animation.
A limited animation radio play?
Yeah, I mean, think of it like Rainbow Dash Presents, because it's going to be very similar to that.
Like the early ones where it's mostly just still images along with narration, or the newer ones where it's almost animation?
It's going to be like still images, because they're bringing out news ponies, and they're talking about it that it's still in production, and they're actually looking for artists. They're opening auditions for artists because they need more of them. Because apparently
we need more artists.
Yeah, they just don't have enough artists. Because they had a casting call for this a long time ago, and so all the parts are cast for, and I would assume most of it's written. And they put out a teaser trailer for it that looks kind of interesting. So the characters, I like the characters. News Ponies is going to be fun just because it's the group of people that are involved with it are just crazy. So wanted to put that out there. Tell you that if you're an artist, look up Midnight Magic Productions and look at their video that they put out, because they explain the whole thing, and it actually does look pretty cool.
Hi.
So that actually brings us to another animation, and this one I will put up. We're going to talk about it after we watch it, but this one involves anthropology.
What a mystery.
Ever read the amazing fanfic Anthropology? Ever want to read the amazing fanfic Anthropology? Ever sit there and want an audio play made of it? Well, now you can help make an audio play of it. I'm teaming up with some people from Bogile Brony Studios and maybe even you to make it happen. Anthropology is an amazing story that follows a certain mint-colored unicorn that we all know and love, or hate. That's up to you. Named Lyra. Since I was a little filly, I always knew humans had existed. When I discovered some books on the topic hidden in the old wing of Canterlot Library, from doorknobs to my own lyre, everything felt like it was meant for the bipedal creatures with the best thing ever to be invented, hands. But my roommate Bonbon doesn't agree with me and my shenanigans. But when Celestia seems to notice my interest with these creatures, I know the princess is out to get me. Were humans ever real, or is it just a dream that I want to see come true? We're gonna need many canon characters along with background ponies, and some OCs that appear later on. First we'll need Lyra and Bonbon. I being the main character, and Bonbon being very prominent throughout most of the first part of the fic. Canon characters will be Twilight, Sparkle, Applejack, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, Princess Luna, Princess Celestia, Spike, Scootaloo, Sweetie Belle, Apple Bloom, Mr. and Mrs. Cake, Discord, and Donut Joe. Background ponies will need are Octavia, Derpy Hooves, a musician, female, and a male musician. These musicians were in the background of the gala episode. Now, for the OCs. These OCs don't have any spoilers surrounding them. Dewey Decimal. Dewey is Lyra's father and the chief librarian of the archives in Canterlot. Sirius is Lyra's mother, who is a Pegasus that works with the weather. Indigo Spark, Lyra's teacher from back in the days when I was just a filly. He only appears in the first few chapters and flashbacks. Bluebell, a filly that was in my class when I was in school. She has very few lines and only appears in one flashback. Beyond this point are all OCs that carry huge spoilers. I would recommend reading the whole story before auditioning for these characters, but I can't control you, so do as you will. You were warned. Farmer, he's a male. A random farmer who yells at Lyra to get off his farm after I arrived in the human world. I have him as a main audition because I want a nice voice for him, just 'cause. Audrey, a girl that Lyra meets and takes her in to stay at her home. She has a huge part in the story when Lyra finds herself in the human world and acts as a guide. Miss Lauren, that's Audrey's mother, and Mr. Lauren, Audrey's father. Nathan, Audrey's friend who has a huge role later in the story, mostly because we need his car. Randall, the manager and lead singer in the band that I joined in the human world. If you audition for him, keep in mind that he does have a line of singing, so it would help if you can sing. He plays a huge role later on. Mike, he's a male, of course. The bass player in the cover band that I join. Casey, who is also a guy, plays the drums in the cover band that I join. Thomas Michael Akos, my birth father, who is a popular author of fantasy books in the human world. Chloe Michael Akos, my younger sister, who is 7 to 8 years of age, has a fascination in unicorns. Miss Michael Akos, my mother, who is an artist. Paul Chandler, a boy I meet on a plane ride to meet my real parents. He becomes a really good friend and plays a big role later on. Monica, Paul's friend who works at a bookstore that I visit frequently, who also becomes my friend. The spoilers end here. Auditions will end on July 12th. For lines and more information, click the VAA link in the description. The email to send auditions in is anthropologyauditions@yahoo.com. Good luck, everyone!
So that was the animation for Anthropology. I'm wondering exactly what they're gonna do with it, because they have this whole animated promo. I'm wondering what kind of animation they're gonna do with the. It's not an animation. It's just a radio play, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry. It would just be incredibly hard and time consuming to animate a fanfic, especially one as long as Anthropology. But I'm glad that they're doing a radio play of it, because Anthropology is a good story. And I wasn't planning on doing it for my radio plays, so if you are a voice actor, and she lists off, just a number of roles. There's just tons of roles that she lists off, and they're all up for grabs, apparently, except for luck.
So go out there and try your best, and then come back here crying, because, let's face it, your best just isn't good enough. Seriously, though, yeah.
Crush spirits before they even start.
To be fair, for those of you who are listening and are actually thinking about trying to get into the voice acting thing, really my best advice is don't wait for opportunities to show up on the podcast that talks about the news several days after it's aired. There are a lot of wannabe voice actors in this fandom, and if you want to get the good roles, you pretty much have to jump on that stuff, as soon as it's posted.
That's not necessarily true. A lot of them hold auditions, and they will not pick someone for that part until the deadline. In which case, you have until the deadline to get that out.
True, but they also generally tend to listen to the.
Said that the deadline's the end of June or something like that. So you have quite a while to get these.
Yes, but here's the thing: especially juicy parts. They're going to get a lot of auditions relatively quickly, and they're going to look at and remember the first ones first. And if you want to make a good impression, unless you are fantastically good, you want to try and stand out ahead of the crowd by being just the first to kind of jump on that and really prove like you are ready and willing to do this stuff.
Well, yeah.
Make a good impression.
Guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you cannot dedicate your time to this, do not try out. It is just a nightmare for anyone trying to put together a radio play. All of a sudden, one of their voice actors just quits.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Don't, join one, go, okay, I'm going to try this one. If it doesn't work out, I'll just quit, and that's fine. I'll pick up the next one. You will, there are plenty of people who will ask, if they're doing a large enough project, they will ask other people who you've worked with, for references. And if you have a reputation for picking up projects you can't do and then dropping them, that reputation will precede you. Like not only the people who you worked for, but the people you worked with will remember you. So do be careful not to bite off more than you can chew and just assume I can either do this or whatever. It doesn't really matter if I fail.
So, yeah, that's all we had to say about that. But again, a cool idea for a radio play, and it should be interesting. We also have another animation. You know how much we love animations on this podcast.
Man, we are just drowning in animations.
This one's pretty cool. Recently, and we're talking within the last week, I've gotten into Doctor Who. And I actually did watch the entire first season of Doctor Who.
New series or original?
The new one, the one that started in 2005, I believe is when it started. And there is a new animation that just came out dealing with Colgate and Dr. Hooves, called Colgate is Best Artist, and we'll take a look at that and then talk about it after it's done.
And who are you?
You really not know me. Just because they put me in here.
They said you were dangerous.
Not the cage, stupid. In here. They put me in here. I'm the... Oh, what do you call me? We travel. I go
The TARDIS.
time and relative dimension in space. Yes, that's it. Names are funny. It's me. I'm the TARDIS.
No, you're not. You're a bitey mad lady. The TARDIS is up and downy stuff in a big blue box.
Yes, that's me. A Type 40 TARDIS. I was already a museum piece when you were young. And the first time you touched my console, you
I said you were the most beautiful thing I'd ever known.
Then you stole me. And I stole you.
I borrowed you.
Borrowing implies the eventual intention to return the thing that was taken. What makes you think I would ever give you back?
You're the TARDIS.
Yes.
My TARDIS.
My doctor? Oh, we have now reached the point in the conversation where you open the lock.
So, like I said, I just started watching Doctor Who. I'm not 100% sure if this is actually from an actual episode of Doctor Who or not.
I haven't watched enough of the latest series to know for sure, but I'm fairly certain that was a Matt Smith era Doctor talking with the physical incarnation of the TARDIS.
Which is really cool. And, Colgate, there's so many in the animations about her being a dentist. Actually going into her cutie mark being a hourglass and the connection with the Doctor is a really cool idea. And the fact that they were able to
get some of the lines from the show to put in there is cute.
And it works. It works really well.
Aye. Now, it's I would love to see someone actually do... I've seen plenty of Doctor Who stuff with either Twilight or Derpy as an assistant, and while I am definitely all for that sort of adorableness, it's pretty damn cool. It fits very well. Come on, people. Colgate. Okay, not Colgate, because Colgate is the fan name that's joking about the fact that her hair looks like Colgate toothpaste.
I'm pretty sure that's become canon by now.
No, it hasn't, because Colgate is actually a trademark.
Oh, they can't use that name?
No, they can't. Colgate is actually a brand of toothpaste.
I know it's a brand of toothpaste. That was the whole reason that she got her name, because
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. They can't name it they can't actually sell toys called Colgate. When that's the brand of another company.
Well,
unless Hasbro is also
they've got to have some name for her. Minuet, right?
Yeah, it's like Mennonite, or it's like to do with minute. Like it's a time pun.
Yeah, Minuet, I believe, is what her canon name is. That's right.
Yeah.
But anyway, Colgate, Minuet, whatever you want to call her, she's even blue, like the TARDIS. So
yeah,
that was kind of cool.
Yeah, she's TARDIS boning. Come on, people, do something with that.
And but yeah, I guess it would be kind of interesting to see a Doctor Who's an assistant / Doctor Who's adventure type animation where instead of Twilight or Derpy as his assistant, it's Colgate.
Because go crazy, have female Doctor. Female Doctor Colgate. Dentist is a type of doctor.
That would be interesting. But I don't know.
Go on, people. You've managed to make Rule 63 versions of the cast of MLP. You really telling me it's going to be that much of a stretch to, make a ponified doctor who's also a lady?
Well, they've had the female doctor, but the problem is that a female doctor would still have the same coat color / main color / cutie mark.
Not necessarily. I mean, it could be a different Time Lord. It could be a Time Lord who actually did end up in Equestria, and that's how she escaped the Great Time War.
Well,
in fact, the Doctor isn't the last Time Lord. He's just the last Time Lord left in our reality. In a different reality, we have the Colgate Doctor who is totally doing her own thing. Oh shit, people! Come on, this is grade A material. Do it.
It's an interesting idea. So.
We gotta lose all faith in the fandom if you people don't start working on this stuff right away.
There really isn't too much to talk about. There was one thing that in a nightly roundup recently that I found kind of interesting. Tara Strong was at Comic-Con in what city was that? Where was Comic-Con recently?
I think Comic-Con always takes place in it's either in LA or New York. I think there's a Comic-Con in both places. Or I think of PAX.
But I mean, I might have been in Canada. I don't even know. Tara Strong was at a
Toronto Comic-Con. Yeah, I think Toronto has a Comic-Con.
But yeah, she was at a Comic-Con. I can't remember what city it was in, but she was at one recently, and was talking it was a Q&A, and one of the things that recently came up was some guy came up and actually had been on EQD. And one of the discussions, EQD loves to post discussions, one of the discussions that was recently up is what character would you like to see a spin-off of? And he actually asked Tara Strong that question, which is actually a really good question. She actually said that she would love to see a Derpy spin-off. That'd
be pretty awesome. Though, to be fair, if anyone's going to propose that the fandom's favorite daughter is going to get her own spin-off, it would be Tara, Queen of the Bronies Strong.
But yeah, and you know, it's really good. They could definitely do it because Derpy isn't going to be on the show anymore.
Actually, that's not necessarily 100% definitely true.
I heard she's not. They came out with a statement saying
no, they didn't. They're not. Some guy came out, saying that was, and then people poked a whole bunch of holes in his assertion, basically pointing out you're not actually working for Hasbro, you're just a troll.
I haven't heard anything about that. But
there's a guy who came out and he was all like, "Oh yes, here are all these things that are definitely going to happen," and then people were like, "Wait a minute. This is BS. You're not actually working for Hasbro. You're just some asshole who's making up things." And
very possible with this fandom. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that actually, the Hub recently brought out a commercial that has Derpy in it, which was kind of interesting. I don't know what that means for season 4, and I guess we're not going to know until season 4 actually comes out.
Actually, I heard a rather interesting rumor that Derpy might actually be making a return, probably not with that name, but the character model at least will be making a return. Might be making a return for a certain episode.
They're not going to. It's not going to be Derpy though.
It won't be. I'm almost certain it won't be named.
After the backlash of the last time it happened,
well, it'll be.
They're not going to have the eyes, and they're not going to have.
Actually, no. They would have the eyes because the reason for the episode, apparently, and again, this is horrible speculation, rumor stuff that is not confirmed by official sources, but apparently they do. It is known that they are going to do a episode about disabilities.
Yes, I have heard they're going to do disabilities.
There apparently someone actually said, there was actually a thing that was being said that they had actually been polling people in the fandom about whether or not they'd actually want to use the Derpy model with the walleyes as part of that.
Yeah, except for I was pretty sure that was going to be a Scootaloo episode. But...
Yes, but the thing is, it's supposed to be Scootaloo is going to someone else for help. Like another character who's dealt with prejudice for help. And, apparently they were actually pitching around the idea of possibly using the Derpy model for...
Strong episode. We're talking. I mean, that's a harsh topic for.
Yes, it is. Though apparently, and this is not just rumor and speculation. According to Tabitha, I think it was Tabitha St. Germain's Twitter, she actually mentioned that when she read the episode, write-up that the person had been working on for the disability episode, she cried. She was like, "Wow, this is really, really good."
And I mean, this is Megan McCarthy who is coming out saying that they were going to do an episode about disabilities. Yeah. This was a long time ago when there was a.
Yeah. So we are confirmed that they are doing a disability episode and that it is apparently going to be pretty damn powerful.
Yeah.
It's rumored that quite possibly unnamed Derpy will be making an appearance in that episode, but it actually would make a deal of sense to, use the character essentially to do what they, essentially to try and do like an olive branch bridge building thing to take the character whose whole, a lot of the backlash came about because of the whole, if you cut her out of the show, it's, making a bad stance against disabilities, to then bring her back to basically go, okay.
The whole backlash started because people were complaining that it was offensive. I mean...
No. That was the backlash against the character originally, but then Hasbro got a big backlash from the community, and...
Because of that decision.
And the big argument was, if you take away a character with disabilities, doesn't that actually, send a bad message about people with disabilities?
That was one of the arguments.
That was kind of the big one that Amy Keaton Rogers responded to.
Well, Amy Rogers has reason to respond to that.
Yeah, but she's also the writer of the episode. So if anyone is going to be making an official response to it, it's going to be her.
Well,
but the point is,
she has a kid with disabilities. I mean, yes. It's like, I think, it was.
Yes, and she wrote the episode. She was the one who requested the name be changed when Hasbro came to her asking about it.
Here's the thing. Amy Keaton Rogers, first of all, I think is a big fan of the character Derpy.
I think she is now, yes.
Huh?
She is now. She actually did say that,
before.
No, she wasn't. No. She was in several interviews about this. She did not know what the meaning of the word Derpy was before that. She had no idea of the character. Basically, it was just, she had a character, and, someone on the staff basically said, hey, name her Derpy. It's apparently like a really big thing. So she did that. Then she found out what it meant when there was the backlash, and she, Hasbro asked, what do you think do you think we should take it down? She said yes. Then she got a whole bunch of letters in response to that, basically saying, no, it wasn't meant to be offensive. It's meant to be a term of endearment in this case. And she kind of turned around on it.
When she wrote A Friend Indeed, the original version of the Smile, Smile, Smile song had Derpy written in it. The name Derpy was actually in that song.
Yeah, but I don't think she actually wrote the song lyrics.
When there's a song on the show, the writers write the song.
Yeah, but no, again, she has actually stated in several interviews that she didn't know about the Derpy thing until after the episode aired.
Right, but I mean, that must mean that she
might have been given the name before, but she didn't actually know what the whole meaning behind it was, or that it was a big thing in the fandom. It was just sort of a name. She has been very clear about the fact that before the whole backlash, both the anti and pro Derpy backlashes kicked in, she did not know that Derpy was anything more than just a name for a character that she didn't even know the model for.
Well, you know what's really funny is that everyone knows that in the fandom, Skull Dumbarrat is Derpy's voice. That's just how it is. Her voice is absolutely fine. It doesn't sound bad at all. If that's the fanon version of Derpy, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that character.
Yeah, and there's a fanon Derpy voice actress who does a great job with it. The problem is that they didn't hire, they gave the voice role of Derpy to someone who didn't know the character's gender. And so the character not only had a name that could be perceived as offensive, but also had a voice that was, screwed up and therefore came off as being a bit mean-spirited.
I don't know, it didn't sound...
The voice actress thought that it was supposed to be a guy. And that's why she made it very slow. And combined with the name, it made her sound like she was... Yeah, point is, it was a bad combination of unfortunate circumstances, but the point is that since that happened, there's been a lot of backlash against the original decision, and because of the nature of the backlash, it actually would make a degree of sense if they decided to actually address the whole issue of your marginalizing people with disabilities by cutting them out completely, by having the character, though not in the name, return for an episode about accepting disabilities in people.
Right. I mean, it's it's a whole topic in itself, and we really can't go into it too much. But
We've actually just gone into at ludicrous depths, honestly.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we'll kind of let it rest at that. The point is that that we're expecting this disabilities episode, and we're interested to see if Derpy does make a comeback.
Yeah. Either way, even if we don't see Derpy return, I get the strong suspicion that we actually might get one of Lauren Faust's original ideas coming in this episode, which is that Scootaloo was always meant to be a cripple, that she would never fly. And
I don't know if that's going to be how that episode ends or not. She might be having trouble flying and goes to someone to talk about it, but ends up being able to. But
it's possible, but again, the whole point of Scootaloo's character in the first place, like according to Lauren Faust, was that she's never supposed to fly. She's supposed to be, she's supposed to learn that her special talents aren't involved with being, the person who she thinks she's supposed to be.
Right.
Which is a really good lesson, honestly, for kids.
Yeah.
Accepting, that sometimes, you aren't what you think you should be, and that's fine. You don't have to be the type of person who you think you need to be happy.
There could really be some good lessons in season 4, and I'm really looking forward to it. But we got a long time to wait.
Indeed. At any rate, I think there's one more animation we were going to talk about.
Oh, there's a couple more actually.
Oh, jeez.
Going on to the next one, the next animation that we have to talk about is kind of creepy. It was based off of a recording that was done over a year ago, I think. But it was just voice. There was no animation for it. There was no visual. It was just audio. And recently, with the new upgrade to Source Filmmaker, that's why we've had so many SFM videos come out recently, because there was a new update that was just added to it where it's so much better than it was. And so we're getting a lot of SFM videos. This one is called My Little Amnesia 2.
Hello? Is that you I hear? Fluttershy? What are you? You came for me. Are you okay? Is there something wrong with you? Hush now. It's all right. Fluttershy?
So that was the video. I actually did hear of. I heard all of My Little Amnesia when it came out. The audio of it came out. This is one part of that, or based on one part of that, I should say, where they have Fluttershy, and it is creepy as hell because they, they it's not just Fluttershy's voice. It they mixed up and make it creepy. And the video itself, because Source Filmmaker is so much better than it was before, they're able to make it pretty creepy.
Indeed. I think the one weakness that the thing had in terms of horror was the, breathing green fire.
Well, yeah.
Scene. This is based obviously on the game Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which if you haven't played it, if you're not good with horror, don't play it. If you like horror like me, oh my god, there has not been a better horror game released in years. But it is horrifying. But the game it has a supernatural element, but there's no one who breathes green fire at you. And the reason for that is breathing green fire kind of ruins some of the atmosphere. It adds an element of fantasticism. What the hell I'm thinking of? It adds a layer of fantasy that the game and that this animation didn't really require, and kind of hurts the immersion. But apart from that, it's creepy. It gets the atmosphere right. It actually manages to take the original design of Amnesia and kind of give it almost a Team Fortress, redesign with brighter colors and stronger lines, which works really well for tying it into MLP. Since I think if they'd actually gone with the original game files for the castle, it would have looked extremely silly because Twilight and Fluttershy would have looked just kind of goofy, against the more realistic backdrops. By kind of stylizing it, it actually fits in a lot better and actually makes the whole thing a lot creepier because you don't have the juxtaposition. So, way to go.
There are Amnesia custom stories that are My Little Pony related.
Alright, I have not played any of those.
Yeah. One is called the Small Horse, I believe. And it's a couple of chapters. And it has, rainbow dashes in it. There's playthroughs of it online on YouTube that you can find. It's not necessarily all that creepy. A lot of it's actually kind of funny.
Oh god, that thing.
But yeah, it's Amnesia with ponies. So.
And unless you're thinking of the thing I'm thinking of, which is that crazy animation, like crazy game mod thing where there's like dancing and all sorts of weirdness. That was.
There is all sorts of weirdness.
Yeah, that was weird. Like I saw like some a thing for it. And it was like, here's a mod for Amnesia: The Dark Descent with ponies. I'm like, okay, that sounds creepy. Check that. There's like some random bit where like everybody's dancing. It's like, what? This isn't Amnesia. What the hell is this?
There's some crazy things people have done with Amnesia. Obviously some people take it and do scary stuff with it. Other people will just do it to fuck with it. There was one that I saw, an Amnesia custom story, where it was just a joke with a whole bunch of different memes. Like they changed the face of the monster to a troll face.
Yeah.
And they had Nyan Cat come and kill you instead of the monster. With the song playing the entire time. The Nyan Cat song.
Yeah. If you ever want nightmare fuel retardant, just download that mod.
I'm sorry, they even have peanut butter jelly time in that, and it was ridiculous.
Yes.
So we're gonna go on to the next video. Yes, it is another SFM video. This one's a little bit more funny than scary. This one is called.
And it's not even remotely scary. It's just funny.
It's called Boostro Yay.
You can't guess what the joke is.
little thing. I'm Mercy back to help.
This is obviously a play off of the Dragonborn, Fluttershy being the Dragonborn from Skyrim. Skyrim was a great game. I have played the entire thing at length, like the entire game. We're talking, all the side quests and all the DLCs and whatnot.
Yeah.
And something like this, Fluttershy. Fluttershy, for some reason, I think it's the cheering scene with Rainbow Dash that started it all, but she apparently has been the pony we have chosen as Dragonborn.
It's a fairly obvious joke. I mean, it's the juxtaposition of, Fluttershy being incredibly quiet and having a very iconic line where she, rears back, takes a deep breath, and then instead of laying out a, mighty Fujra, she... Yay. And, it's a pretty obvious joke to kind of take that and then turn it over to the thing. But what I love about this video is they really went whole hog with the joke. They have a setup that actually makes sense for both the character of Fluttershy and for the dragon. They, throw a pretty decent animated, Skyrim dragon. They do the... follow through with the joke.
I was very impressed with the dragon and how it looked, and it looked really good.
Yeah, and the whole thing was fairly fluid. And element I actually really liked was the ending, where not only do you get to see Fluttershy do the Fujra Da and blast the dragon away, you also get an extremely in character bit during the ending where the subscribe and check out our other videos buttons, where Fluttershy is tending to the dragon, she just blasted halfway across the map.
And then the dragon spits out Jerky.
Yes. Because it's an MLP Brony fan video, so Jerky contractually has to make an appearance.
Even if it's the most illogical thing ever, she has to be in there somehow. So the dragon's gonna spit her out. We'll just do that, yeah.
Hey. Point is, it's a fantastic bit of animation. Way to go, team. So, are you down to the last animation yet, or am I missing another one?
Well, there's at least one more. We'll get to it. There is a couple of things that we're going to talk about that aren't animations. Hooray!
Oh my!
In the last week or so, Andrew Francis had his birthday.
Happy birthday, Andy!
Yes, so I think it's funny because ever since, Friendship is Witchcraft brought out their video, he's just been, shine and armor is synonymous with corn dogs. He loves corn dogs.
I think that's actually been around since long before the Friendship is Witchcraft thing.
Well, no, Friendship is Witchcraft was the first time I saw it. Where they made the joke about corn dogs.
I think the corn dog joke thing actually originated with the fact that he sounds like a surfer dude, and kind of the iconic food of the surfer dude was corn dogs, man, the food of the '90s.
Well, possibly, but that's probably where the joke came from. Well, but I think the first time it was ever aired was on Friendship is Witchcraft.
No, because people were making corn dog jokes before Friendship was Witchcraft. The Friendship was Witchcraft episode came out.
Well, that was the first time I ever heard the corn dog joke, which was actually funny because it's like, you investigated corn dogs. I love corn dogs.
That's actually kind of funny because the thing is, Cabral AR was making the corn dog jokes back on some of the things we were doing with the character of Shining Armor.
Well,
a while ago.
The voice of Shining Armor, so
yeah, he does very good Shining Armor. But yeah, he was making corn dog jokes for a while because the thing is, he is such a surfer dude. He sounds so much like a surfer dude.
Well, yeah. Well, and of course, AR makes the surfer jokes as well.
Yes, he does.
So there is that. But anyway, that was just something I wanted to mention. It's nothing too huge, but it was Andrew Francis's birthday. I wanted to mention that.
Yes, once again, happy birthday, Andy. I hope you enjoy yourself.
something about Equestria Girls dolls, which I don't know.
Equestria Girls dolls. People, they're prototypes, okay?
Well, yes, prototypes, but it means that they're still going to bring them out eventually.
Yeah, so hopefully in extremely altered forms. Like, you fucked up when even Lauren Faust, who's normally takes I'm not going to say anything negative about the show, I trust in where the people are taking it, basically turns around and goes like, no, go to hell, no.
Okay, so there was another thing that I wanted to mention. This one actually is fanfic related. We haven't had fanfic news on the podcast for a long time. This one's just really big, and it's been going on. It's a long fanfic that's been going on for I think the last year it's been written. So, I mean, it's just it's something that I wanted to mention because it's been so long in the making. So Long and Thanks for All the Ponies has finally completed. For those of you that don't know, it's a crossover between My Little Pony and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which a lot like My Little Pony has a very
passionate fan following.
Fan base, exactly.
Yes, God damn, love Hitchhiker's Guide. Great stuff.
So I mean, I know that So Long and Thanks for All the Ponies has been out for a long time because this goes back to when I was listening to Vos de Sueños when he did his podcast. Granted, this was months ago because he actually stopped for quite a while due to real life and stuff like that took precedence over his pony podcast. But he was doing readings of So Long and Thanks for All the Ponies, and this was, like I said, a year ago. So, it's noteworthy to realize that this has finally completed. Let me just click on this link here and see how many chapters it actually is.
And it's fairly long. I actually just found out about it. Yeah.
21 parts.
Yeah, I just found out about now it's been completed, and being a massive Hitchhiker's fanatic, I am going to have to read this thing, so expect to eventually hear my opinion on it, because if it's good, I'm going to be raving. If it's bad, I'm going to be ranting.
From all I've heard, this is a extremely good fanfic. I mean, obviously it made it on EQD. Usually they're pretty high quality. It's 21 parts, but one of the parts is part 15.5, so I guess you could call it 22 parts. It's long. It's long. And so, but yes, if you like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, So Long and Thanks for All the Ponies is the official MLP crossover with that, and it is now complete.
Yes. And if you're a Hitchhiker's fan, you should know why the story actually probably should be classified as having 21 chapters. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with rounding or dividing.
Yeah, I'm sure that was. I've seen that movie like once or twice, and I never read the book actually. So I'm
books,
not
plural. There are a number of them.
Really? I thought it was just one.
No, it's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, the Universe, and Everything, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and Mostly Harmless. So Long and Thanks for All the Fish is the penultimate book, but it's also a famous quote from the first book, which technically I think, with the possible exception of Life, the Universe, and Everything, they're all the names come from the first book.
Well, yeah, and I know about the dolphins being aliens and leaving the Earth and saying so long and thanks for all the fish. I do know that.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, my knowledge is relatively limited when it comes to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because I didn't actually read the books or watch the movie in any detail. So
yeah, still haven't watched the movie. But at any rate, I think we have one more bit of animation to go.
Yes, the animation.
Finally end this thing.
Yeah. Wait a minute. No, there's two more animations.
Son of a bee.
Yeah, sorry. Two more. There are two more animations that I want to talk about. The first one is I think it's yet another SFM video. I'm finding it. Hold on. Here it is. No, it is not an SFM video. This one.
The Trixie thing?
No. We can talk about that real quick. But I mean, Brony Curious. If you have been keeping up with the, pretty much is a new part of the fan base. MLP analysts, Digibrony and Brony Curious are the two main forces in this new part of the fan base. And Brony Curious put out an analysis about why Trixie is one of his favorite characters and why Trixie is loved by so much of the fan base.
Yeah, and of course, it being a video about Trixie, Stathisto, or whatever the hell you're supposed to pronounce his name.
The one posted the video about it.
Posted the video and did a write-up about it, throwing in his own comments. Since he is a huge Trixie fanatic.
Right, and you know that, I'm actually a Trixie fan as well, but it wasn't until reading a fanfic that I actually really liked Trixie.
It's funny because I didn't particularly like Trixie in the episode, and then I read a fan fiction involving Trixie, and now I hate her.
No,
I hate her.
Well, no, what it was, and actually he goes into into it a little bit as well. Not the fanfic, but the fanfic made me realize something that he talks about, which is he has a headcanon for a backstory for Trixie, and there was a fanfic that I read where they developed a backstory for Trixie as well. And when you go through this backstory, you understand why she acts the way she acts, and it makes her an appealing character.
Yes, though of course that does kind of rely on the idea of fanon as, being a thorough explanation of why the character acts in the way she does. Since it's also a completely valid explanation that she is an extremely egotistical jerk. Have you
seen the Brony Curious?
I have, actually, and I agree with some of his points, but I don't agree with all of them. Okay. Again, my thing with Trixie is that I've always, felt that she has the same position that Lightning Dust served to Rainbow Dash, which is namely to show what Twilight could be. To take away, if you took away some of Twilight's, better attributes, made her more selfish, more self-absorbed, less willing to make friends, this is who Twilight would be.
However, I think Trixie has a lot more depth than Lightning Dust ever would.
I've seen people argue make some pretty strong arguments for why Lightning Dust is an interesting character, since she's clearly kind of got the same thing as Dash in terms of, wanting to join the Wonderbolts more than anything else. And
well, I mean, I haven't heard, I haven't seen a story or heard a headcanon about a backstory for Lightning Dust yet, and I would actually like to.
There's a comic that's on EQD somewhere. I read part of it, but then I realized I don't care about Lightning Dust, so I'm not going to bother.
I like the character. I'm sorry. I do like Lightning Dust. I do. But I actually like Trixie a lot more.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's like, in terms of like reading a Trixie story, I kind of fall into the fem-flam philosophy reasoning of, why do I want to read an entire story about Trixie? Her whole point in the show is to be unbearable. Why would I want to, spend time with this character when I can spend time with any of the other characters?
What's funny is that the fanfic that involves her that I've actually read puts her as the second element of magic.
Yeah, and I've read stories like that too, and that's why I went from disliking the character to hating her.
But,
because here's the thing. Second element of magic doesn't make any goddamn sense. You know why? Because the element of magic is not magical power. It's in the name of the damn show. The magic of friendship. It is a shorthand name. Twilight is the element of the magic of friendship, not the element of raw magical power.
Well, yeah. I'll talk to you about this after the podcast, but anyway. That's not the video that we're actually talking about. The one that I'm going to show you guys is by the other main portion of the MLP analyst, part of the fan base. Digibrony. Digibrony put out a new Observations on MLP. That's one of his series where he talks about different aspects of the show. This time, he tackles the question that actually I've been wondering myself is why there are so many mares and not very many stallions. And he does a really good job with explaining exactly what's going on. So why don't we show you that video and then we can talk about it afterwards.
I've seen this question countless times. Why are there so many more mares than there are stallions in Equestria? The answer I've come to is, there aren't. We're just looking for them in the wrong places. It's easy to see where the misconceptions come from. There's a lot of crowd shots in MLP, and most of them seem to feature mostly mares. They also tend to feature about 6 ponies clone stamped over and over again, but that's besides the point. Also besides the point is the fact that the male to female ratio improves dramatically on a regular basis in seasons 2 and 3, suggesting that the animation staff has had time to create a hell of a lot more templates, but that's not too important here. Think about it. Not every scene has a disproportionate representation of mares. Some of them feature a disproportionate representation of stallions. Just look at the ponies plowing the fields in Winter Wrap-Up. All stallions. Now look at Celestia's Royal Guard. All stallions. What these shots suggest is that there are certain jobs that are primarily held by stallions in Equestria. I can understand resisting this notion a little out of fear of promoting traditional gender roles, but the reality is that this makes perfect sense, especially in a world where a pony's natural talents are the focus of their role in life. For the most part, stallions are just better built to be plowing the fields and guarding the castles. AJ's line about how Twilight's plowing awful fast for such a little pony comes to mind. Digi, surely you aren't suggesting that almost every stallion in Equestria is doing field or guard work? Of course not. Plenty of stallions up in Canterlot are living the high society life. Plenty of stallions in Appaloosa are doing stuff Appaloosans do. Plenty of stallions in Cloudsdale are doing generic dude shit. Plenty of stallions at the Wonderbolt Academy trying to become Wonderbolts. Plenty of stallions in the Crystal Empire being all depressed. So no, I wouldn't suggest that the majority of stallions in Equestria are working in the fields, but I would suggest that most of the stallions in Ponyville are working in the fields. Think about it, this is a rural town. It was founded by Earth Pony farmers and ostensibly is still a primarily Earth Pony town. Obviously there are exceptions such as Mr. Cake and the Sofas and Quills guy, but that's why we see those guys, because they're the ones who aren't in the fields. Think about it. How often would we see Big Macintosh if he wasn't Applejack's brother? If Applejack wasn't a member of the group, you'd see no more Big Mac than any other stallion because he wouldn't be around most of the time. Now, think about the scenes that show a more even gender split in Ponyville without involving some kind of dude-related job. There's stallions around during Nightmare Night, Hearts and Hooves Day, the Summer Harvest Festival. All of them are holidays, days when the stallions wouldn't be out in the fields. Further supporting evidence comes from the Ponyville Schoolhouse, which often has a good representation of male students. They haven't yet grown up to possibly take on careers in the fields or elsewhere. Yes, MLP has some scenes that carelessly have an overrepresentation of females. While it may be an understandable generalization that guys might not be as interested in singing musical numbers or something described as a pageant, it's particularly strange that there's no stallions whatsoever during the running of the leaves and a few other events of that nature. Still, to say that these moments are evidence of a total lack of stallions in Equestria undermines the fact that they are still quite present and have a solid reason to be underrepresented. After all, the main 6 are a group of 6 mares, none of whom has any real stallion friends aside from their brothers and neighbors. It's not that strange that in following their adventures, we wouldn't see as many stallions as we would if, say, the main 6 were comprised of Big Macintosh, Shining Armor, Fancy Pants, Pony Joe, Brayburn, and Snowflake. Holy shit, I would watch that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, pretty much what he's saying is that they've always been there, we just never noticed them.
Or more accurately, they've always been there, but not in areas where we'd see them in the background.
Well, and he also goes into the fact that as the show has progressed, as they've gotten better and have had more time to make character models, we're starting to see them a lot more in the Crystal Empire and stuff like that. They're showing up a lot more in the later seasons. I would expect season 4 would even have more stallions in it.
Yeah.
To make Equestria seem a little bit more, like
diverse.
Yeah.
Which, again, if you want to look at, a pure and simple reason as to why, the show originally started with more ladies than guys, they had limited character models, and the priority was make ladies, because it is a show, like the whole point of the show is strong female characters.
Right. So I mean, when they started, you can understand why there would be less stallions. And as the show has gone on, there's been more time for them to make those male characters, so that they've had some more now.
Excellent. At any rate, it's 2 a.m. Time for some more horror.
Yes. The last animation that I really want to go into is one that was kind of a twist for me. It starts out creepy, but quickly gets away from that. Why don't I show it to you before I ruin everything for you, and we can talk about it after we show it. So this one is called Your Nightmare, or more specifically, Rarity's Nightmare. And in this case, it's funny because, it's supposed to be scary, and then she ends up beating the crap out of this demon / whatever pony it is. But Duha, do you have a different...
I liked it. I thought that it had some good creepiness, and I thought the final joke was pretty funny. The problem for me, though, comes in where, like with the green fire-breathing bit in the Amnesia video, the lower quality of the animation actually kind of kills the final scare. It is an excellent build-up. It's creepy. You have the bit where she looks to the side, and then it slowly pans back, and the thing is there. That anticipation, that knowledge that the horrifying beast is right behind you, but you can't see it because it's, you won't be able to see it until you turn around, and the moment you turn around, it's going to be too late. And then you see it, and then because of the fact that it's a relatively low-quality flash animation, when it slowly opens its mouth, it's kind of unrealistic and looks fakey, and you kind of lose all verisimilitude. It's very much kind of trying to get an almost alien vibe. Not alien as in like an alien, but alien as in a xenomorph from the Aliens franchise. It's almost trying to go for like a vibe on the original Alien, where you have this horrifying inhuman creature with no eyes slowly open its mouth to reveal all these teeth. And that worked horrifyingly well in Alien because they used practical effects, and so there's a real sense of weight and realism to the creature. In this case, it looks like a bad CGI, like it's the equivalent of a bad CGI monster. You go from horrified to, oh, that's not real. That's fakey.
it's animated in the first place. So
it's animated in the first place, but the thing is, like, it's like what I was saying about how the Amnesia 2 video in Source Filmmaker was drastically improved by the fact that instead of using the original architecture from Amnesia, they actually went with almost a TF2 style, highly stylized castle, which allowed a greater degree of verisimilitude between the Source Filmmaker character models and the environments. This, like, you can get I can get invested in the characters and the animations and stuff in FIM because they're really good. I feel the world. Even when there's some animation errors, they're not so big that, they take me out of the experience. In this case, I'm totally sucked into the world, but the animation error in the, not even an animation error, but just the animation quirkiness of, the Flash model takes the creature from being, horrifying looking, like going directly into the Unreal Valley, to just swooping out of the Unreal Valley into goofy Funny Town. So, I like it. It's funny. It's got some great atmosphere, but it kind of would have been improved if, for me, it would have been improved if it pans back to Rarity, pans over to the creature, and its mouth is just already open. It's just breathing, and like, boom, like you have like a second or two to register it, because the more you're able to see the creature, and this goes for all horror, the more you see the creature, unless the creature in and of itself manages to actually be uniquely horrifying by like dipping into ideas like the Uncanny Valley, or like digging into the ideas of the like the subconscious horrors that prey on humans, you're going to lose a lot of your scary factor the more we see the creature. And we see the creature a little too long in this.
So, I mean, make your own opinions. The thing about the fan base is that they do what they can. A lot of animations are better than others because they have more expertise in that field, more time to do this kind of stuff. The animation, for what it's worth, is really good and what main rarity. So
yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll give it credit for two of the things you just mentioned there.
So anyway, we're gonna pretty much end this off. The only other thing I wanted to talk about before we quit is that Bronies React. For those of you that are a big fan of Ace Race Best series, they did a reaction for Equestria Girls, the trailer. Pretty funny. And Noakin freaks out at vinyl, so
good stuff.
Yeah. So check that out if you haven't seen it yet.
Gentle beings. It has been real, and it has been fun.
That's it for this week. Be sure you tune in next week. Next week's episode, we have a interview with the chair of Fiesta Equestria, which I keep on mentioning. We're going to be there, and so we're going to be talking to him about the convention and hopefully get some kind of info on the guests that are going to be there, panels that are going to be there. Because he hasn't brought out a schedule yet. I think they're finalizing the schedule right now, and we can talk about that when we talk to him. But yeah, I'm not sure what kind of panels are going to be there, and so hopefully I'll get some of that information when I talk to him. That's next week. Until then, I'm Lightning.
And I'm Duhad.
And we'll see you next time.
See you guys next time.
In the arms of the night's embrace, the starlight shines down upon your face, illuminating sky so bright as we run together into the night. Silly fools with silly dreams, together eternally. Come out and play, we'll spread our wings and fly. This summer will last forever, we'll laugh and sing and play whenever we'll wake up late and rule this town. I'll always come around, just you and me and a love that's meant to be. To the sky we both take flight, exploring our world by Luna's light. We race each other through the stars and laugh as we know that this time here is ours. Silly fools with silly dreams, together eternally. Come out and play, we'll spread our wings and fly. This summer will last forever, we'll laugh and sing and play whenever we'll wake up late and rule this town. I'll always come around, just you and me and the love that's meant to be. Silly falls with silly dreams. Summers never last, it seems. Summer will last forever, we'll laugh and sing and play whenever we'll wake up late and rule this town. I'll never let you down. And even when that summer's ending and real life seems so condescending, we'll grow together. You and I will face tomorrow side by side. Just you and me and the love that's meant to be.